Here. Good Saturday morning, everyone. You are watching Fresh Black Coffee. I'm Black, he's Coffee, and we're fresh in your homes today on various venues. Where all can we be found nowadays?
We are still on YouTube Live.
All right.
But we're also Rumble now. That's kind of what our seat of production is. And they send the feed to YouTube. And then also Facebook, our Fresh Black Coffee.
We're everywhere we need to be.
Yep.
All right. Hey, everybody. We are glad to have you with us today on this beautiful Saturday morning. It's really pretty outside today. It takes perfect temperature, almost in the low 70s, and clear skies, blue, all of that. Perfect football weather.
Can I say something to the gardeners out there? If you like how your bedding plants look, enjoy them this weekend, because Monday morning you're going to wake up to a bunch of cooked spinach. You know what I'm saying?
Or is it going to be hot?
It'll be a cold, hard freeze.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And you know what happens to the begonias and everything? They just turn to limp spinach, canned spinach. Okay.
Well, I have to say it's weird. The weather's been weird. We didn't really have our normal summer. Remember, there was rain all the way into July, and then we probably had 3 or 4 weeks of nice warm weather. I think we hit 100 twice this summer.
Yeah, it really wasn't that.
It wasn't that bad, and now the cold is coming late.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're almost in mid-November, and it's still pretty outside.
Yeah.
So it's very atypical weather for Oklahoma. But hey, we enjoy it. We're thankful for the weather we have. And we'll see how I think they predicted a pretty harsh winter, though. I think that's what the prediction is. So anyway, welcome again. Dave, what do you have for us on the top of your list?
Well, this is the most important Saturday if you're a Texas Tech fan. I'll have to say that.
Guns up.
All right. It is 2 top 10 teams.
Right.
And rivals in the expanded Big 12.
Right.
And
those cultic Mormons of BYU. So Tech is on a crusade to preserve Christianity. So you need to be praying and rooting for Texas Tech.
Where's the game at?
It's in Lubbock.
It's in Lubbock.
It's in
which means you can drink beer. See, if it was at BYU, they're teetotalers.
Hey, but you know what the big news of the whole thing?
But it's the Texas people that are true Christians, obviously.
Yes, of course. Yeah, at least, yeah. We can drink. You can't even drink coffee in
That's true.
Where are they, Provo? Hey, but the big news about everything is, I don't know if you heard this, they've been taking gradual steps, but now they're really cracking down on the tortilla tossing. I don't know if you know the tradition since the 90s. Anytime the fans either get excited or upset with the refs, they throw tortillas like Frisbees out from the stand, and you'll just see. In fact, ESPN had this thing in the camera. It was just like a blur because you had like hundreds of tortillas flying. Everybody was throwing tortillas.
Are these like the round, soft
flour
ones? Yeah.
Yeah, the soft tortillas, yeah.
Okay, so, and see, a woman can just tuck them in, make her hips look bigger. And how do you keep people from bringing them in the stadium?
No, what the problem is they started fining the team.
Oh,
yeah, and it's several $1,000. I think last game they fined them $10,000 to $20,000 because the people were still there. They make it out. Please do not toss tortillas on the field. And so
don't
they
think about pink elephants. Don't think about.
Yeah, exactly. And so they toss them to where they land around the field, not on the field.
Yeah,
but they're still, and really what caused a big stink was Kansas when we beat Kansas 2 weeks ago, and that coach made a big stink about the tortillas, and and then he lied about something else. So there's a real kind of it did not end pleasantly between the coaches meeting, because the guy accused him of something that never really happened. It was just sore loss. But anyway, so the NCAA now has come in and banned the tortilla. it's as they say in Minnesota, it's a deadly weapon, don't you know?
Listen, I've got something to say on this. 1974. Now, O.J. Simpson owns the record for the most touchdowns in one season.
Right.
But the rookie, Chuck Foreman, with the Vikings, comes in down. He and O.J. are both tied, right? And then O.J. scores, sets a new record. Then Chuck Foreman scores and ties it. And then a snowball gets smacked into Chuck Foreman's eye and takes him out of the game.
Really?
Yes. And O.J. keeps his record because O.J. was Buffalo Bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
All those years. And a fan up in Buffalo decided it was okay to throw snowballs. And so you want to talk about what's deadly in this or what's career ending and NFL Hall of Fame and career record setting? What's a tortilla going to do?
Well, exactly. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's something the fans enjoy doing.
It hurts their
We've done it. We've done it for 20 some years now.
So you admit it.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, I'm not complaining or saying anything. But for over 20 years, this has been going on. Nobody had a problem. But now all of a sudden, the deadly tortilla. It's ban guns and ban the tortilla.
I think it's good fertilizer.
That's going to be the new T-shirt. Ban the tortilla.
I'm sorry, Eddie. We don't care if we take eyes out, but don't hurt their feelings.
Yeah, right.
That's really what it is. It's humiliation.
Yeah, it's a silly thing that even becomes an issue. There's no danger, and they usually don't do it. They always do it on dead balls. So let's say somebody scores a touchdown, they'll throw tortillas, and then they have people ground who can run out, take them off the ones that land on the field. A lot of people can't, from the upper, you're not going to reach the center of the field. And it's always around the end zone or the sidelines. One or two may actually get out on the field. But now it's like the gun ban to me. And seriously, because so much of it is so silly because of the few that actually land on the field. And they're not harming anyone. And it's like the gun ban wanting to take the gun from law-abiding citizens that know how to use it. And usually the offenders are unlicensed gun owners, or people, unlawful gun owners, let me say, because they're not just because they don't register, but a lot of the guns are stolen or passed around. So
I don't have a license for a gun.
Right.
Not going to get one.
Right. No, I understand. But what I'm saying is, but you're a law-abiding citizen who's a gun owner. Yeah. And the unlawful gun owners, who use it for unlawful purposes, let's say, they give you a bad name. Mm-hmm. And so it's like banning the gun because of these guys over here. And here, one or two people that have the strength or the ability to get their tortilla to land all the way on the playing field.
I think we need to find teams for post-game Gatorade baths. Because that actually does hit the coach down the back of his neck.
Yeah, especially when it's really cold. You can put him out for a game or two.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's where we are today.
I did not know that, not being a rabid Texas Tech historic fan, that the tortilla toss is kind of a tradition there.
Oh, yeah. And
for decades, you say.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And well, here's a few other facts that a lot of people won't want to hear. But the guns up in Oklahoma, it's called pistols firing.
Have we discussed this before, Eddie?
Oh, have we? I don't remind me if we have.
So many times.
Oh, okay. Never mind all that.
Yeah. The Oklahoma City Cowboys, you stole it from Eddie's team. Okay, get over it.
But see, it's not just them. There's so many things. The horse and the rider that we have. It's a girl. It's been a girl the last several years. But anyway, Florida State. You know how the Native American rides out on the horse?
The Seminoles.
The Seminole, and he rears up and sticks the spear in the ground.
Yep.
That came from Tech.
Yeah.
Tech
Except when Mayfield does it at Ohio State, it's wrong.
Oh, he planted the flag. Yeah.
It's still a stick.
Yeah, no, yeah, but
It was after the game.
but there's a difference that Florida State does it in their own field, not in somebody else's field.
Yeah,
That's
but
the
this
big
was after the game.
Yeah. Oh no, I understand. But no, what I'm saying though is that Florida State was playing Tech in the Gator Bowl back in 63 or 60 something.
Yep.
And they liked the idea of the rider and the horse that they decided, oh, we're going to do that only. And I have to say, I think theirs is better. They actually improved on it because I still get goosebumps when I think about the guy right now. And then he has that horse rear up and he and sticks that spear in the ground. That's one of the coolest things in football, you know. So just stealing or borrowing something that someone else, if you improve it, good on you. And but there's several things that you know the thing where a team goes like OU Sooners, OU. Well, that's another thing. It started as Raider Power. So we are the inventors of so many benefits to the game of college football.
So, folks, if you chant something one side of the field and then they answer back to the other, you stole it from Eddie's team.
Well, it's interesting they didn't do it before.
If you drive a car or ride a bicycle, you stole it from Eddie's team.
No. If you ride a horse. If you ride a horse, you stole it from the Red Raiders.
Yeah.
If you wear black and red, you stole it.
Yeah. I got to commend Florida State.
Right.
Florida State.
FSU Seminoles. Right.
For standing strong against all the, victim class people. Or no, they really aren't the victim class people, because you know what? The Seminole tribe loves that they are honorably depicted by a major university.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Kansas City Chiefs, another one. They have the arrowhead as the symbol.
But Chiefs is not exclusive to America.
Well, but when you put an arrowhead with it,
I get that. That's true.
But what separates the Seminole, and the way they did it very intelligently. They made a pact with the Seminole tribe to do it and do it in respect. And like I say, I get goosebumps when I see that brave ride out there on the Pinto and throw that spear down. I get chills, and I'm not even a Florida State fan. Okay,
but you were a coach for a Union high school soccer team.
Right.
What happened that they got rid of the Redskins? Are we that offensive?
And it was some liberal white person that made them do it.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Some Karen.
Yeah. Or Chuck.
Yeah.
Apologies to all you Chucks and Karens out there.
Let me go to the Karen issue.
Okay.
I saw something that just thrilled me. Eddie, you have characterized the image of the loudmouth black woman.
Right.
And I have a new actual favorite loudmouth black woman named Tish Hyman. Trish Hyman. She is a Grammy-nominated songwriter based in California. She went to her health club, and she's finishing working out, comes out of the shower in all her naked glory, and there's a man standing there just checking out her body. And she just blows up over it. She was interviewed on Newsmax.
How dare her?
Yeah, she's been interviewed on Fox News, Newsmax, a number of them, and she's starting to find her voice on this. And she's starting to rally a movement in California because it's law that the health club have to let those men in the women's facilities based on what? Do they have a certification? Do they have a license? Do they have a medical card? No, they just make a claim. I feel like a woman.
Today.
Yeah.
Today.
And
tomorrow I'll feel like something.
When my daughter was a teenage girl, this started to become a big national issue. It started with Target not opposing men going into the women's restroom. And I started posting up memes of a bunch of motorcycle gang guys hanging out in the women's restroom with a bunch of teenage girls in it. And like, is this the America that you envision?
Right.
Well, Tish Hyman said, no, this ain't happening. She's very careful. Now, her views, her cultural views are very liberal. She said, these people are transsexuals. They're not trans men, not trans women. They're transsexuals. And she says, I support their right to be treated with honor and dignity, but not at the cost of over half the population of the earth being women, and saying, in order to you to treat them with honor and dignity, you gotta
violate.
Yeah, your privacy violated, and not by just them, but Bubba and Joe and Hank and all the guys with the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club, who by law cannot be questioned.
Right.
And this is California law.
No, I understand.
And and even Gavin Newsom recently, when before Charlie Kirk died, he interviewed him. Actually, Charlie went on Gavin's new podcast. And, Charlie was just talking about the sports in the issue of fairness. And Gavin Newsom, he says, no, this is not fair. In the athletic competition, it's not fair. We have to find a way to respect and honor people who are struggling with issues in their lives that they're trying to straighten out and find themselves.
Right.
But this is not the remedy.
No, but see, what started was, and I hate to say this, that everything ends up landing back on the feet of the Black community, but it started with the Black community wanting equal rights, but then equal rights is not enough anymore. They wanted super equal rights. And that's what's happened with the gay community, that but it's one thing to have people leave you alone if you want to be with a man. If a woman wants to be with a woman, fine. But it's not enough. You see, they now want to push the agenda to where they can do anything they want.
That's it.
And that's what's going on. It's the Black community, a certain segment of the Hispanic community, female women as well with their super rights. And then now, of course, the homosexual and trans communities now wanting to exert rights that are not innate right.
And I will say remedies that don't logically follow your claim. What they're saying is, if you disagree with any of my remedies, right, you hate me.
Yeah, right.
That's really what they're trying to pass along. And I'm seeing it happen.
But it's the reverse. They're the ones that hate. See, they hate the heterosexual community because deep down within, I'm going to say this, deep down within, they know they're wrong. Mm-hmm. It's against God. It's against nature. It's against all history of mankind. So what you have to do, because to overcome the hate, you have to get rid of anything that reminds you of the fact that this is not right. And okay, that's where we're really, what's really behind all of this.
Okay, this is a good time to do a quick Dave's Psychology 101, okay, a term called projecting. What it refers to, because this applies to exactly what you're describing, Eddie. When somebody has a character flaw, and instead of owning it and admitting it, they accuse everybody else of what they are. That's called projecting. Yeah. I'm sure, think about it. Your Uncle Tommy or your crazy Aunt Sally and that accuse everybody else of what they're guilty of. Yeah, we all know those people. Some of us are those people. But it's really what's going on here. Henry Kissinger, one time Rush Limbaugh said he went to Bill Buckley's house for a dinner, and he stood across from Henry Kissinger, and he was so excited about this. And he quoted Henry Kissinger. He said, "The problem with the left is they accuse you of whatever they're doing." And you see it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. That is exactly right. And Democrats are the worst. I mean, in general, they are just trampling on the Constitution, on human rights, on everything, but they make it sound. I've talked about
they
this.
do it to save our democracy.
Yeah, right. No, it's their democracy. Yeah, but it goes back to, again, I encourage you, if you can find it online at either a few dollars or no dollars, look up the book Kingdom of the Cults by Walter Martin.
Yes.
And in the preface, he talks about what the cult strategy, how they do it, and it's called redefinition of terms.
This is important, folks.
Yeah, redefinition of terms. So to a cult person, when you talk about salvation, you talk about the Godhead of, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, all these things. They use the same terms, but they've redefined them.
Yes, they will come across as though they are Orthodox Christians.
Exactly. And so...
but they need something different.
Democrats try to come across as Orthodox patriots and lovers of our nation, but nothing is further from the truth, because they're actually communists or socialists at best, and they have managed to redefine democracy as whatever they determine democracy is, and you have to abide by that. That's democracy. But for you to have your own will, that I'm not putting up with this, I don't like this, I don't want this, I'm not voting for that, then you no longer support democracy. You're the bad person, you're the bigot, you're the anti-American, and so we've got to fight this. We've got to explain to people that Democrats do not represent democracy.
Yeah.
Democrats represent totalitarianism, which means total control. That's what they want to control everything from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, or from birth, or what is he saying, cradle to grave.
Yeah.
They want to control your life to fit in their thing. And it's never enough. It's never enough. They keep wanting to push the envelope until they totally destroy everything decent that America was founded upon. So
remember, this is the same Democrat Party that last year knew they were going to supplant Joe Biden. But they waited until all of the delegates were selected, all the state primary dates were passed, and then they cut his knees off. And then they decided Kamala Harris. And they decided that you're going to like it. Remember that big PR fluff? They put $1 billion into her campaign. Never been done before.
Right.
And got all this hoopla that everybody's so excited about Kamala. Really? Yep. Yeah. So. No,
it's their strategy. And there is such a, the sad thing about all this is that it's the ignorance, and it's a willful ignorance of the American population. And here's another thing that comes into play after this week. New York City, Zoran Mamdani, won the Democratic. He's now the mayor of New York. He won more than a Democratic nomination, but he's now the mayor of New York. And in New York City, 39% of the population of the actual city is foreign born.
Wow.
Okay, they're all immigrants.
Yep.
And then a lot of the others that are just totally liberal, progressives.
Yep.
And they don't realize that they're committing suicide in the things that they're doing. They're committing, what would you call, suicide or fratricide? What would you call citycide or whatever? They're destroying their city and their state. People are going to move. Prices are going to get higher, not better, but they continue to believe this lie and the BS that the Democrat Party wants to foster upon them. And here's what I don't understand, Dave, if you don't mind unplugging that phone so we don't get that again. These people fled nations.
Yep.
They fled nations to come here because of the way they were treated there. And then they come here and want to create the same environment here that they fled from.
Yeah.
It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
And so, and the Democrat Party, and I believe there's underlying things with this. I'll tell you, here's something, you know, I don't like to say that, but I have to say this, and I hope you'll receive it in the manner in which I deliver this, but there are times that I believe God has given me prophetic vision and prophetic thoughts. In 1985, God put on my heart about the three groups that will destroy America. Okay. One was Islam.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is secular humanism. And the third is syncretistic religion.
Tell me about that. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go through each one.
Okay.
And so when we first joined Youth with a Mission as missionaries in 1981, we went to Holland, and we went at this farm called Heidelberg, and we met this young man, David Aboud. And David Aboud was a Moroccan that had been saved by one of our outreach teams. And then he came to Holland and lived in the community there.
Yeah.
And as we were going to Morocco on our outreach, he took time to meet with all of us and told us about this thing called the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, Dave, 1981 is when this happened. And so Dave told us about what the Muslim Brotherhood's ambition was. They were sending people over to infiltrate our universities and our political system with slowly, patiently taking over city councils and then cities and then on and on and on. Yep. And this was and also infiltrating our universities, because that's where so much of the future thought of a nation is encapsulated right now. So this was 1981. Well, by 1987, I was coming back to America to itinerate and give, speak at different churches.
Yep.
And God gave me this thing. It's a 3-parter. It's on my blog spot. Salt Inc. is the saltinc.blogspot. And you can probably still find it there if you go to
That was the name of your record label, wasn't it?
Salt Inc. was, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, this and the record label came after this, but it's saltinc.blogspot.com. Mm-hmm. And it's a 3-part thing, and I discussed this whole thing that they're planning or wanting to do. And essentially, again, like I said, Islam is one of the 3 things that is attacking us. The other one is secular humanism, which basically is just removing God from the equation or the discussion. In other words, God will no longer have an influence on our nation and our government. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is syncretism. Syncretistic religion. Syncretism, and this is one you were anyway.
Yeah.
Syncretism is a blending of religions. And so here's what happened. When the Syrians got rid of Israel, okay, the Assyrian kingdom, before the Babylonians took Judah away, the Assyrians were the power. But what they did, they took all of the Israelites,
the northern 10 tribes, right?
The northern kingdom, exactly. They took them away, and we never heard from them again.
Right.
Babylon, at least, they came back. The remnant.
Weren't they referred to as the Samaritans?
Well, not really.
Okay.
What happened, they took them away. They left a few of them there, but what the Assyrians did, which was pretty smart, to keep a nation from rising again, an ethnic group. So what they did, they conquered other countries and other areas, and they took those people, put them into.
Oh my goodness!
They put them in there with their gods.
We wouldn't do that today, would we?
No. So they put them in, and then they took the Jews that they took out, the Israelites, and spread them in other nations. That way, they could not influence the future because they would become syncretized. And so what happened, that's why the Samaritans have this syncretism means blending of faith beliefs. And so in Samaria, that's why the woman at the well, remember, and why they were so hated, because they did not hold to the true Jewish faith. They were syncretized with all these other different faiths from the other countries that had been put in there. And that's why they were hated by the pure Jews of Judah.
Yeah. And some of this was because of that division. I mean, here's the thing, folks. The prophet Samuel said, you guys, Israel, you think you need a king? You want a king? I'm telling you, it's not going to turn out good. You're going to eventually get a tyrant.
Right.
And then they did, who raised their taxes, conscripted their sons into battle, and a bunch of things. And you know what? The northern 10 tribes said, we've had enough of this. So they split up. The problem is, capital, Jerusalem, where the temple is, where you're supposed to worship, it's in occupied territory. So they changed their religious doctrine to say, you don't have to go there to worship God. He'll accept your worship on this other mountain in our territory.
Right. But that was the real crux, because a lot of them, if you know, Isaiah was from the northern kingdom. Several of the prophets, they still were true to the faith. What really did it, again, was when they took them out and then they put other religions and people from other countries in.
I'm not saying every one of them was corrupted. Right. Elisha and Elijah weren't, but there was plenty of that influence, so that the woman at the well.
Right, which was hundreds of years later.
Right, was saying, wait a minute, tell us which one we're supposed to follow.
Exactly, and that's because all of these other nations that had been conquered, those people came in. I'll give you a perfect example. Take Dallas. Mexicans, Europeans, and now huge Islamic, about the, if you haven't read Plano, Texas right now, there's an Islamic community that has wanted to wall itself off and become run by Sharia law. Well, the governor and the city said, no, you can't do it. But and there are mosques everywhere now, and you hear from the minarets, you have the call to worship. And so forth. So it's creating a big problem. But that's what basically happened when we're bringing Buddhists, Muslims, traditional African religions, you name it, all these people, and they're supposed to cohabit. And religion is the deepest, most sensitive part of the human spirit. It pretty much rules how you think. Now you have moderate, believers in Islam, just like you do in Christianity, but the true believers of each of these faiths, and these faiths are mutually exclusive. They cannot cohabit.
Yeah.
Islam and Christianity cannot cohabit.
Yeah. I will give you a prediction on this case of the Texas
Dallas
Sharia community.
Plano, the Dallas area.
The U.S. Supreme Court will not even hear it. This is my prediction.
Okay.
The Fifth Circuit, I think, is who Texas is part of, will rule against it using the Zion, Illinois case. Now, my great uncle moved from Belgium to the United States. He's the only other Ben Rich I can besides my great grandfather. And he came here to go to Zion, Illinois, and be part of this Christian community. In fact, he married a woman who's from England who came to be a part of it. The evangelist's name was Alexander Dowie. And this was just before the Azusa Street Pentecostal revival and stuff like that. But the Supreme Court eventually ruled you cannot put a religious test on citizenship. And they had to open Zion, Illinois to anybody who wanted to move there. Now, that's not to say there isn't pressure, because, there's been a lot of Jim Crow laws preventing certain ethnicities from moving into certain neighborhoods. There's still a lot of restrictive covenants all over the country saying nobody of a certain ethnicity can own land here.
Right.
But they're discarded.
Yeah, but see, the way they do it, they're smarter enough to go around that. You don't have to make an official law. You just buy all the houses in an area.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you squeeze out. In fact, I was just reading an article about this family in Dearborn, Michigan. A lot of the people moved out on it, but there's one that wanted to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And, their children are harassed continually.
Yeah.
The women are harassed continually. They're attacked and so forth. And to the point where they move out. And then what do? Then they move their people in. And so it's a lot like Mormonism.
Yeah.
They do this. They take care of their people. The difference is Mormons aren't trying to convert America through force.
Yeah.
You can choose.
They just do nice better than anyone else.
Exactly. No, listen, Mormons are some of the greatest and most wonderful people in the world.
Yeah.
Even though they're theologically wrong. But as far as people and humans, the difference is with Islam. In fact, there's a book out years ago called Mormonism, Islam of the Western World.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows the parallels on,
there's a lot of similarities.
Oh, how Muhammad, got the
and
vision.
Joseph Smith. A lot of similarities to their story.
Right. The polygamy and on down the line. But anyway, the difference between the two is Mormons are not trying to take over the United States through force and forced assimilation. And the saddest thing about Islam in America is these ignorant, stupid Karens out there who you see dancing around. There's this one YouTube video of these three girls. There's two black girls and a white girl, and they're dancing. And Sharia's coming. Sharia's coming. And do you remember the early Jane Curtin and Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd, Jane, you ignorant slut.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yes.
It reminds me of that. These stupid, ignorant girls that apparently weren't raised right. I'm just going to go out there. And that's what we're facing, though, Dave. This is what we're facing today. And
I'm having an ADD moment here.
ADD.
The SNL skit was a spoof of an early 60 Minutes recurring standard where they would have a person debate each side of an argument, usually later in the 60 Minutes 1 hour segment. But it was called Point Counterpoint, if I remember right. And so now when you saw it in 60 Minutes, it was almost to Oxford level of debate, classic style. They didn't interrupt, didn't shout each other down. And they did it so respectfully that Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin decided, let's make a spoof where they're like a lot of us in a barroom brawl or heated argument. So when you watch it on SNL, and believe me, they are classics and I love them.
They're funny.
They're just spoofing 60 Minutes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So anyway, I think we've dealt with this. Wake up, America. Put a stop to it. Make this our Tours.
Yeah.
Tours France is where finally the Muslim invasion of Europe was stopped. The Battle of Tours, Charles Martel. Charles Martel in the Battle of Tours is what turned everything around because the Muslim hordes had gone all the way up into France, a lot of Russia, and they were essentially taking over the world at that time. And Charles Martel, the French, to their credit, turned it back. And that's what turned everything around. But hey, I want to, again, dealing with multiculturalism and our situation in a small town in Kansas. It's called Coldwater, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They've elected a mayor. In fact, they just reelected this mayor, okay, who's not even a U.S. citizen.
Yep.
And now he is, after the election, they have now convicted him of, here, let me go back to the beginning. He's charged with, this is what's funny. He's charged with illegally voting.
I got it. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. He was illegally voting. He's charged with that, but he's the mayor. So, I mean, This is insane. He voted as an illegal alien, undocumented, if you will. The people want to say that. It's illegal. But anyway, and so they have 80% of the vote he got. He got 80% of the vote in this town. But this is the big problem and danger in America right now. And, a lot of people are excited and happy about all of the Californians fleeing California, the New Yorkers fleeing to the South. What you don't understand is a lot of this is nothing more than infiltration. Mm-hmm. And I promise you, will slowly begin turning red states purple, purple states blue. And this is the real danger. This is why we have to. It's one thing to be excited about. We're getting more votes in Texas, Florida, throughout the South, but at the same time, it's a short-term victory, because our universities, mm-hmm. our cultural influencers are all pushing the youth and siding with these immigrants who have ill intent. Mm-hmm. It used to be, you came and you stayed on, was it Terminal Island? What was the island? No, Ellis Island. Terminal Island is from a movie. Ellis Island, yeah. And you had to be there, and you had to be checked for diseases and this and this. And to be a citizen, you had to swear an oath. My mother, I'm 11 years old, and they've got me swearing an oath to be loyal to the Constitution and laws of the United States. These people don't, I think they still go through that, but the ones now, they don't even make them do that. Oh, you're just undocumented. That means you're okay. You're a citizen. You can vote. You can do this and this and that. We're not going to ask you to become a citizen anymore. And I'm thinking, are you insane?
No, they're evil.
What are you doing? Yeah.
It's a takedown of the United States.
Well, exactly. The people behind, but the ones supporting it, like these stupid women, young girls out, drinking in the city, being interviewed. They're just stupid. They're ignorant. They have no vision for what they're bringing upon this nation. And Dave, let me go ahead and say this. I'm talking a lot today. I'm fired up.
That's fine.
As we say, I'm full of fluid and ready to do it. But we are basically opening the door to being taken over and being destroyed as a nation. It's like the fall of the Roman Empire. And we don't have enough people that see this. So our governors, our state legislatures, they need to learn and understand that everyone that comes into your state, just because your state is growing, does not make it a good thing. Who is moving in? Who is starting to influence your state? Who's influencing your children? Who's influencing your culture? Mm-hmm. That is very, very important. And we've got to have our own tours. We have a tours moment. And by tours, I mean Tours France, where the Muslim hordes were driven back. And that's when Christianity pushed them back into Africa, across the Mediterranean. And we've just got to get to the point where we wake up and realize the danger that we're in here.
It's an invasion.
It's an invasion.
But I have to say, it's an invited invasion by really treasonous globalists. Yeah. And here's the thing, and I think the guy's name was Bob Amsterdam, was on listening last night to Tucker Carlson's latest podcast. He is of Jewish descent, but he's an attorney globally protecting Christians and their rights. And he talked about the state of affairs. He said Germany is in absolute chaos right now. Your homeland, where you were born.
Yeah.
And France is no better.
Probably worse.
Germany declared their most popular political party to be illegal because it's a nationalist group, right? It's a Germany first group.
Right.
Very patterned after Trump's vision of America first. And you look at France is no better because, I mean, they just locked up Marie Le Pen because she's leading the polls for no other reason than she's leading in the polls.
Right.
In Romania, they had an election. The wrong guy won, according to the globalists. So they said, this doesn't count.
Put him in jail.
We'll put him in jail and have a new election once he's locked up. And in Europe, I mean, in Great Britain, they don't even know how to run the country. They're that inept. 11
of their largest cities have Muslim
We're
mayors.
good. You can lock up. I'm sorry.
11 of their cities have Islamic mayors.
Yeah.
In England.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, you're giving away your birthright. You're giving it away. And there's no other way to think about this than it's more than a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
And it's because the weaker Christianity gets, the weaker our Western culture gets, and the more powerful the Islamic world gets. Mm-hmm. And as long as we don't fight it, and that's why, and this is what's crazy too, the Jews in New York, there are these liberal Jews, New York, LA, and all these areas, they want to pacify the Muslim. And they feel they're cool, they're in because they're tolerant and they're accepting, And in New York, for example, there's Jews that are Jews for Mamdani.
Sure.
And they don't realize.
Most of them are atheist Jews.
Right, exactly.
So it's not an attack on Judaic religion or worship, okay, folks?
Ginos.
Yeah.
Jews in name only.
Yeah.
And so unless we wake up and are willing to take a stand against that, and just multiculturalism, period. As I said, this story about Kansas here, this town in Kansas, that has now elected a non-citizen to be their mayor. Are you kidding me? And 80% of the city elected this guy to be their mayor.
I think most of them in ignorance, probably.
Oh, yeah, maybe that he was not a citizen or whatever. Yeah, but somehow somebody should have done their homework to figure out that this guy's.
We just arrested the superintendent of public schools in Des Moines, Iowa, because he was not just a nonsense; he was illegally here.
Right.
And well,
this guy apparently is illegally here too, and he's the mayor of the town.
Let me say something about that voting issue. Now, Kansas and Oklahoma really pattern their statutes after each other. I will say what Oklahoma law is. And Steve Kunzweiler's one was told me, he says, if you register to vote and you're lawfully barred from voting, for instance, a felon who's not yet served,
time.
That's a misdemeanor. But if you actually cast a ballot in an election, that's a felony. They just locked up a gal who was in jail for a certain period of time, convicted of a felony, and she voted about 4 years ago. It was during COVID when it was all mail-in. She didn't think she'd get caught. And she, I think, got sentenced to like 3 years in prison for casting one ballot. That's how serious our laws are here. And
that's how serious it should be.
Yeah, and I think Kansas is probably about like that. Okay, they're state legislators, particularly the Republicans, where they control their state legislature, Kansas, Oklahoma, and a bunch. They go to a conference in the summer called ALEC, where they compare and debate ideas and statutes. And when they see something they like, they take it back to their own state. That's how you get that uniformity.
My question about the Kansas case is this going to affect the voters? In other words, are they going to feel like, oh, we've been duped, this guy needs to go to jail, or he needs to be kicked out of his position? Or are they going to take the opposite? Oh, you're persecuting this poor guy. He's the best mayor. We've got to protect him. The law is wrong.
You're going to get some of both. There's going to be bleeding hearts.
Well, right. But when 82% of the people voted for the guy, now I'll tell you what I suspect. What I suspect is that's a community that is largely an immigrant community.
Could be.
and probably very largely Hispanic.
Did you say what town it was? I didn't.
Yeah, I did. I can't remember the name of it.
At one point you said Topeka, but that wasn't right. No, okay.
Yeah, no. It's not Topeka.
Topeka's state capital.
Here, I'll get it. It's a town I've never heard of. If I can ever get down here to it. Come on. Okay, it is Coldwater, Kansas.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No, we can look it up. At some point during the show, we'll look it up and figure out. But anyway, this is the state of America. This is where we are. And let's transition from there into New York City.
Okay.
Big election this week.
Yes.
Mamdani Zoran, man, it sounds like some alien character, some Zoran Mamdani. And he beat everybody that was running against him. Of course, Cuomo, who nobody really wanted Cuomo on either side of the aisle. Yet at the same time, they threw him out there. And then, of course, we had our mayor of New York, the existing mayor. What's his name? I can't think. Black mayor
Adams.
Mayor Adams. And then of course, now see this is. I don't know how I line up on this, but then you have Curtis Sliwa, okay? And people are convinced that if Curtis hadn't been in it, he would have swung the votes to Cuomo. But would Cuomo really have been better? See, I don't think electing Cuomo, it would have just been business as usual for New York under a Democrat mayor. I think what we're going to see now, because you'll see people fleeing New York, you'll see the economy dwindle, and people around the country, I don't know if the citizens of New York will realize it, but everybody else will realize it, that New York is not the example that we should be following.
Oh.
And so when taxes get sky high, higher than they already are. What really needs, I could see, and someone talked about this before, the Dow Jones stock exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, essentially moving to Miami, becoming the Miami Stock Exchange.
That would make sense.
And yeah, if that happens, New York's toast.
I agree.
New York is toast.
I think it's the new Detroit.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But see, it's that drastic of a situation to wake him up. Now,
couldn't it happen to more deserving people, Eddie?
Right. But here's the other side to it. Do you turn Miami into New York City? Because the same people that are moving out are the people who voted in Mamdani.
Well, let me say this, Eddie. I spend a week in Lower Manhattan, Stock Exchange area. Walk the streets quite a bit. Very safe, the nicest part of New York. The people who live and work around the financial district are some of the most solid people New York has. They lose them, God help them. They got nothing else.
No, that's true. However, see, most of those people lived in Connecticut or over in Jersey or Pennsylvania.
A lot of them in Long Island. They would come in through Brooklyn.
That's another one, right? Long Island's still a conservative area.
And Staten Island.
Right. But still, there's so many of them, especially the younger ones, that are just as liberal because they went to Columbia, they went to Cornell, they went to NYU, New York City University, all of these ultra liberal colleges, and they come out of there with these crazy ideas, and then they get a job on Wall Street and in these different things. And these are Dave, these are the people that are really at fault for allowing this to happen, because with all the money they have, all of the influence they would have that Broad Street has,
right?
There's no reason that New York should be like it is.
Oh, I agree. What I'm saying, you've always heard about the 5 boroughs, right? In reality, there's over a dozen, probably a couple dozen communities in that area. You go over to Greenwich Village, it's one whole artsy entertainment district. Then you go up to Times Square, you got all the performing arts and the music and, those entertainers. So you go up to Bronx, you got Queens, a different one, Brooklyn, all the Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn, my goodness, they control that place. But I'm just saying what you would get if you move the financial markets. Miami is probably a good suggestion. Chicago right now has a mercantile exchange and commodity exchange, so they might make a bid.
Yeah, but Chicago is just as bad as
I agree with you. So. I'm just saying there might be people say, hey, let's go here where all these other markets are,
right.
The agriculture sector.
Actually, Dallas would probably be a better place.
I like that one.
Kansas City, yeah.
So, but what I'm getting at here is I think if you move those exchanges, you end up gutting Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, the financial district.
Yeah.
Right.
And, but I'm just saying, I don't think you're going to end up bringing everybody from New York. You're going to bring the best that still are in New York.
Yeah, but so many of them are so liberal themselves.
Agree.
So all you're really doing is turning wherever they end up.
I agree with you. And
and of course you're right. They will destroy the city. I mean, the city it'll be all poverty stricken and everything.
It's the nicest part. Well, I mean, you go up towards Park Avenue in Central Park, that's a nice area, but I'm just saying right now, just as an entire sector, Lower Manhattan is gorgeous. The architecture is amazing. It's the safest part. It's the Twin Towers are there. You've got.
Well, it's because they throw the police force there to protect that.
Oh, boy, you're right there.
Right. And just let the rest go to hell. We don't care.
You're right.
And So once that's gone, you won't have that anymore. Manhattan will probably collapse.
But you're absolutely right. You can take the person out of New York. It's another thing taking the New York out of the person.
Exactly. That's my only fear. It's just like Oklahoma, in Texas, and all the states here in the Midwest, bringing in all of the Californians.
Yeah.
These friends of my daughter that she knew came from L.A., and they had a choice of moving to Jenks, Owasso, Bixby, all of these surrounding areas, which we think are Broken Arrow, cool area. What do? They're from LA. They decide to move downtown because it feels like LA did, where they live there. They're staying in an apartment instead of they could have bought a nice house, but instead they get an apartment downtown and they can walk here and do these. They got the bodegas or the little market. And basically, all they've done is brought more California liberalism to Tulsa. They didn't bring anything to change. And in fact, they are supporting now that whole environment downtown.
Yeah. Look at George Kaiser is literally paying $10,000 a year to get young professionals to do the remote Tulsa, to move here, still working for whatever company, but remotely. And he's paying money to get a bunch of East Coast and West Coast liberals here.
Right. Yeah, he wants to change the culture of Tulsa.
He's just like the globalists who are destroying through, that kind of thing. Eddie, it comes down to a people and a culture. We're going to get into the whole issue of the genocide of Christians in Nigeria, but it's going to go back to your issue about the tribal identity. Tribes are an extension of family. Family is an institution created by God, and it's the most timeless thing, So
let's go ahead and go there. Let's go to that whole issue of.
So we heard reports for about a week ago of that Muslim group was attacking a Christian group in Nigeria. And on the surface of it, it looked very much like a holy war, and we've seen a lot of it over the past 30 years. But last night I was listening, Tucker Carlson had an attorney on, actually a Jewish guy, who he said, if you go there, he said, sadly, people know a little bit and they think they know a lot. And he mentioned Ted Cruz as one of them. Ted's all worked up about there's a holy war and everything. The prime minister of Nigeria happens to be a practicing Muslim. His wife is a Christian pastor. How's that work? Is that really, rabid? No, they get along and respect each other. But here's the thing, Eddie. Get ready. I'm going to say something here. France shipped a ton of arms to a tribe, a Muslim tribe, and those arms were used for the attack.
Yeah.
It came from France.
It's about money.
Right?
It's about money. They're just they think more of their money than they do with the state of a nation. Yeah.
Yeah. Tucker also had an Armenian guy on, and he said very much the same thing. He said Armenia has been at war with Azerbaijan for a long time, decades, until recently Trump got the two to sign a peace treaty. But the Armenians were being attacked with Israeli weapons that they sold to Azerbaijan in exchange for oil. About 70%, according to this podcast, of Israeli energy comes from Azerbaijan. They had that sweetheart deal. And Israeli weapons were killing Christians in Armenia. Let me tell you why this, I think, is important. The toughest things for the Israelis to sell to the West, to the United States, is their policy regarding the West Bank. And what they'd want to poo-poo is the fact that there are actually Armenian Christians. The Church of the Holy Nativity, where Jesus was born, is an Armenian church. And it's Palestinians who attend it, the congregation. Now, I couldn't figure out yesterday afternoon. I listened to Dana Lash, and she has Ben Shapiro on last minute. Ben Shapiro says, it's not true that Jews are persecuting Christians. It's not true contemporaneously or historically. And I thought, I recall somebody getting crucified on Good Friday. I recall Saul of Tarsus having orders to go round up Christians. I recall Stephen, the first martyr, being stoned to death by a Jewish government group. Eddie, this is revisionist history coming from Ben Shapiro. And I couldn't figure out why he was doing it until I found out Tucker Carlson's latest podcast. Now, I hate to, go on a rabbit trail here. Tucker Carlson is being oppressed in his journalistic freedom by the religious right. I'm going to include Newsmax on that big time. I'm going to include, AIPAC, the Jewish lobby, the Israeli lobby, a bunch of them. And what did Tucker do? He just got another point of view.
Sure. Okay,
I know I said a lot, Eddie.
No, you did. And the difference is, here's the problem for me, okay? Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to throw all the Christians that support Israel into Christian nationalism or this or that, or we're nuts because we're supporting. Okay. Regardless of what they do in the nation, Israel, for whatever reason, they're God's chosen people. Now, the argument always is that what proportion of DNA actually goes back to Abraham?
That's a good point. And I will also say I am God's chosen people too.
No, I understand. Mm-hmm. However, you're grafted into the tree.
Doesn't make me less his child.
Okay, see, you're making an argument that's not an argument. What I'm saying is there are people that are trying to chop down the tree and replace it. It's called replacement theology. I'm sure you're familiar with replacement theology.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dave, but if you go down your trail, Tucker's trail, you end up with replacement theology.
Not at all.
Oh, yes, you do. You do. And it's good that we have this discussion.
Tell me what else I'm thinking, Eddie.
Well, no, I mean, I don't have to tell you. It'll be borne out down the road. And I don't care. See, what Israel does and so forth. I'm not going to attack them for what they're doing in their nation, within their boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. We've got enough problems in America right now that we need to deal with than sitting here and worrying about what they're doing in Israel. Okay. And that's the problem. We're taking our eye off the ball and we're creating new divisions of among Christians and conservatives and wanting to focus on Israel, wanting to focus on not focus on what's going on in Nigeria, what's going on with the Palestinians, what's going on in Russia, what's going on here. It's like, this is one of my peeves too. When I go online and I look at YouTube, it's filled with these YouTube videos attacking Christians and Christian music. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you actually listen to there's nothing wrong with the music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all praise music, but everybody's got their own little podcast or their own little video about how, the 10 most evil pastors. And they've got Billy Graham. They've got Franklin Graham. Of course, the favorite whipping boy is Joel Osteen.
Yeah, I know.
And, they'll have some that are kind of shaky, but they're throwing everybody in.
Yeah, but
they're getting clicks. I mean, it's clickbait.
Eddie, you laid a charge on me, and I want you to hold it. I am not going down any road that's going to separate me from what the teachings of the Apostle Paul said. Paul honors the place of Israel historically, and he also says the church has a very important place in a united church whosoever can be part of.
Right. But what you're doing, to me, from looking outside, mm-hmm. is you're feeding into this narrative, which slowly, gradually, eventually allows us, people in general, to take this negative view of Israel. And then next thing you know, Israel becomes the enemy, the culprit, when honestly, the only thing Israel did was a counterattack on what happened to October 7th, 2023.
Well, I'm taking a much more historical perspective than that.
Well,
I mean, they've been around for a better part of a century.
You may, but the stuff I read, they're trying, people are disavowing the 1946 formation of the reformation of Israel. Mm-hmm. They're attacking this, and slowly they're chipping away. And now here, I'll say this, I think it's biblical. You will eventually, and sometime maybe, is it possible where it says the nations of the world all meet in Israel? Does that mean a literal meeting of a battle there in the
Well, it's pretty descriptive.
Well, no, but wait. But see, what I'm saying is, yeah, that battle may be descriptive, but what if it's really talking about the nations of the world gathering together against Israel?
That you make a good point. And then, because you create an environment that enables that.
Exactly, makes them, and then we pull away, don't defend them. And then, of course, here comes Gog and Magog to attack. Yeah. All these nations are attacking Israel, and boom, Armageddon.
One of the prophets I have the most respect for is Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. He was locked in prison mm-hmm. by the Jewish leadership mm-hmm. because he prophesied God's coming judgment on him.
Right.
And you know what? God was on Jeremiah's side.
Mm-hmm.
And was he anti-Semite?
No.
You know what I'm saying? But there's times when God actually judges people, including you and me.
But it's from within. It's from within.
It doesn't matter.
It does
to me.
Truth
is truth, Eddie.
Yeah, well, I think we disagree, because I think, in my mind, regardless of what the Jews do, and there's a lot to not like. In fact, remember they attacked me in my candidacy a year ago.
And it was lies.
Well, but see, I'm able to differentiate between what God says about the nation and what these local Jews did to me. To me, it's not a personal thing. It's more about what God said and how he's
Okay.
And again, the slippery slope.
Eddie, here's a distinction. What they came after you for was completely subjective characterization. They had no actual factual objective criteria they could criticize.
Well, they made up something, taking stuff out of context.
Right.
But
okay.
other than
It's
that,
a
yeah.
lie.
Yeah, right. It's a lie. It was a lie.
And what I'm saying is going on here is I'm seeing journalists, quotes, journalists, attacking other journalists who are doing actual journalism. And in their attacks, they're not actually quoting anything. They're just characterizing. For instance, he interviews Nick Fuente, and I listened to it twice. I want to be sure I totally understood it. And number of places, Tucker Carlson says, well, we disagree on that. You know, he wasn't there to argue with him. He was there to have a polite exchange, and Newsmax is criticizing him for not, quote, pushing back.
Well, right. But I think what Newsmax was saying is that he had somebody from the other side and he continually questioned and attacked them.
Who?
I can't remember. I just read this yesterday. It was yesterday and I can't remember, but he had another guest on there on the other side and he kept questioning that person as it went. And he didn't do the same with Nick Fuente.
The only time I saw Tucker Carlson get really kind of confrontational, gosh, probably a few times over the past several years with Ted Cruz.
No, yeah, this was just, I think that maybe it was Ted Cruz.
But that was on Ted Cruz Verdict podcast where Tucker was the guest.
Yeah, but I can't remember I thought they said that whoever this was actually on Tucker's, and then Tucker went after them. But he didn't
I'm going to research that because that's important.
Yeah, no, I agree. But here again, I want to go to the heart of this whole deal, okay, about Israel, because we are now, again, we've got this thing called replacement theology.
Yeah.
And it's starting to take hold. And I think it's the most dangerous idea to come along. I think it's a lie from the pit of hell that Christians have replaced the Jews. Okay. No, we have been included with the Jews. Now, it's up to God to decide who's a true Jew. And for us to just all of a sudden disavow anything that happens, the miraculous reformation of the nation, them winning these wars against more powerful, greater armies, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, to me, it's as plain as the nose on my face, and that's pretty plain.
This is exactly the issue Tucker did confront Nick Fuentes on. He said, look, when it comes to spiritual judgment, it's an individual thing. And he said, Nick, I don't agree with you characterizing groups of people and making judgments on them as though it's in God's behalf. I disagree with what a bunch of Tulsa leftist Jews did to you by characterizing things. Eddie, but I also don't want you to make me a straw man for all these other legitimate concerns. If I just say something objective doesn't mean I'm some straw man for everything else that is a legitimate attack on Jews for their ethnicity.
Right. No, I'm not doing that. What I'm doing, I'm fighting back against what people may perceive as you attacking Israel. Yeah. And supporting replacement theology. That the Jews are not the Jews.
Listen, I mean, God has room for everyone who seeks him honestly.
Right. However, I believed it from the beginning. I still believe it. I will always believe it. They are a chosen people. Exactly. And it's not up to me to discern you're one of the chosen, you're not.
Yeah, but see, Eddie, I look at it at a very individual level. After Jesus rose from the dead, he said to Peter, follow me. And Peter was like, yeah, but what about him? And Jesus had to make it clear, look, if I tell John to do such and such, that's between me and him. I'm telling you, follow me.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So it's not up to us to be judging Jews in Israel.
God has a special plan for every living human being.
And nations. He has a plan for nations. It's pretty clear when you read it.
But ultimately, when he says, well done, thou good and faithful servant, enter into my rest, that's a very individual judgment.
I understand that, but those individuals have to live within the space and sphere of a nation and a people group. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
God still judges people groups.
Yeah, I just don't believe Obama was preaching it in a different context called social salvation.
Oh, yeah.
We all get saved as a group.
No. See, here's what bugs me. People have fomented this distaste for Israel when October 7th, 2023, they were minding their own business at some secular, hedonistic festival.
Yeah.
It was a godless.
Yeah, it was a Burning Man.
Yeah, it was a pretty godless event.
It's actually patterned after the Burning Man in Nevada.
Okay.
Out in the desert.
So, and then here come the Palestinians in, kill, rape, burn, kill children, the whole 9 yards. And now in retrospect, all of a sudden, the Jews are the bad guys. They're no longer God's chosen. They're no longer this. You've taken your eye off the ball.
Yeah.
We've taken our eye off the ball, and we've slowly allowed this fomenting of an anti-Jewish, anti-Israel mentality. And I'm saying, don't buy it. I'll tell you, it's the same example that they did, how they won over the Black community. And they, through the years of work, have turned Black America against Republicans, and in spite of the fact that the NAACP was formed by Republicans.
Oh, yeah.
All of the first Black political officers, congresspeople, senators, etc., mayors were Republicans. And yet somehow we've totally forgotten. We've washed that. Democrats have washed that history from our minds. And now the enemy of all minorities, Black and at the top, are Republicans. The Republican enemy number one to the Black community, when it's BS. It's total BS.
Eddie, I got two questions, maybe three. First of all, what do the letters NAACP stand for?
National Association of Colored People.
I thought it was Advancement of Colored People.
I mean, you're right. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
The same ones who declared Clarence Thomas unfit because he didn't have their leftist values.
Right.
And more importantly, recently, a Black woman runs for governor of Virginia, and the NAACP endorses her white opponent.
Yeah, they have
pearly white.
No credibility. Anything the NAACP says is total BS. They are a bought and paid for organization.
What they want you to know, in the words of Joe Biden, if you don't vote Democrat, you ain't Black.
Exactly.
That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah, they are Sambos and Quimbos. And if you don't know who those are, read Uncle Tom's Cabin. They're the true enemy of the Black community.
Eddie, when we had Elvis Polo in here, he and I kind of ganged up on you on one thing. And we were talking about Netanyahu. He faces a lot of criticism, and they're being patient. The Knesset, while Trump was there speaking, they're booing Netanyahu pretty loudly. He doesn't have a majority of support. No. He has a plurality. But here's what I'm getting at, Eddie, is he still hasn't answered for the major failure in intelligence that led to the October 7th invasion.
Okay. That is a matter of importance, but it's not the most important issue.
Yeah, it's a separate issue.
Exactly. And so I will never forget this. I was a huge Star Wars fan. NBC decides to come out, maybe NBC or ABC, I think it was NBC, decides to come out with this show called Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
And I said, what are they doing? They don't know what they're doing now. They're just trying to mooch off of the success of Star Wars. But I sat there and watched the initial episode. In the initial episode, it was a meeting of the leaders, the intergalactic council or whatever on this ship and on this planet. But there was one guy, General Adama.
Okay.
Lauren Green.
Oh, sure. I
General
remember that.
Adama, right. And so General Adama didn't agree, and he says, something's not right here. So what does Adama do? He goes back to his ship called the Galactica, and they pull away. And then the Cylons attack, who they had just made peace with everybody. Oh, yes, we've got to make peace with these people because they're really our friends. They're fine. And you had this one leader of the galaxies, and he turned out he was a rat. You know, he was a traitor, and he was helping the Cylons. And then they wiped out everybody, all of those people in the meeting. They wiped out this entire city and were attacking the planets. And Adama, because he pulled away, you know, he was able to fight him off where he was. And then you had this, they always talk about the ragtag fleet of survivors, people that survived, and they were on these other ships, and he took this whole fleet, and they were going through the universe to find a new. But anyway, without getting even more into detail on this, but basically the issue was this, that everybody had basically turned and wanted to support this one position. And Adama was the only one who had the wisdom. And then he stayed separate. This is where I see us today, Dave. It's like the entire world or universe is turning against Israel. And we're not focused on the true enemy. Israel is not our enemy. The enemy is the radical Islamist, it's the New Age syncretist, and it's the basic atheist, anti-God group out there. But our focus is in the wrong place. And you've got Christians now. It started, well, okay, I no longer support Israel, and that is Zionism. You know, we start with Zionism. You know, and it's what they're doing there with the term Zionism is the same thing the left here has done with conservative Christian. The term conservative Christian has been turned into this evil. All you think of is people with hoods and torches, you know, and they're racist. And it's not true. And we've got to fight that. We've got to stand against it. It's scary. It's scary what's happened. But that no one is fighting this.
Is there anything the leaders of Israel have done here recently that you disagree with?
No, I really haven't, because it's to me, they have every right to go.
Bombing Qatar was appropriate?
Yeah, because they were selecting. What did Clinton do? He bombed Zagreb over Kosovo, right?
I'm not saying I approve of what Clinton did.
Okay. Well, so
how about when the Palouds spied on the United States as part of the Mossad, and we sent several of them to prison?
They went to prison. Right?
That was about 25 years ago.
Let me think.
Keep in mind.
You don't think we're spying on Israel?
The point is there something you disagree with?
No, I expect them. I expect everybody to be spying on us.
Do you approve of what they did?
Yes.
Spying on the United States.
If I'm truly believe in nationalism, and not just American nationalism, German nationalism, whatever, if Israel is for Israel and for their survival, they believe that would be like saying, do you approve of the 10 spies that Moses sent into the land?
If China did the same thing, you would oppose it loudly, right?
But I expect it.
I understand
They
that.
got caught. They went to jail.
We're not giving billions of dollars in foreign aid to China every year.
We don't have to because we're buying trillions from them.
You're deflecting.
I'm not deflecting. I'm just telling you the reality.
Yeah, but you're deflecting a little bit.
No, how am I deflecting?
Israel's still dependent on U.S. foreign aid. Okay. And that's coming from our legislature, actually giving from our treasury, including the tax dollars that you put in. I'm just saying there are things they do that are objectively an offense against the United States or offense against the sovereignty of the nation of Qatar.
But no.
Trump did get Benjamin Netanyahu to publicly apologize for the attack on Qatar.
Yeah, and that was a political move. I don't see it as that because if the people who attacked us, what did Hillary do? Kill Gaddafi in Libya.
The nation of Qatar was negotiating a peace treaty, but they are a signer of the Abraham Accords. They're not the enemy.
But the people that were killed were.
I agree.
Okay.
It isn't who they killed. It's whose soil they were guests on.
Oh my goodness, that's like having a child rapist commit a crime and then run across to a state. You can't touch me because I'm here in another state in the sovereignty of the Commonwealth of Virginia or whatever you want to name it, and we can't touch them when they're there. No, if you committed that crime, you need to be taken out.
Yeah.
See that's how we've gotten into the problems that we're in today.
This was the entourage that the Israeli government agreed to negotiate with. This was part of the proposed settlement. They said, let's get together here. In fact, the Israeli government insisted they stay longer, and then they attacked him, killed him.
What's the old saying? All's fair in love and war. You kill us at a festival, you kill our women and children, etc. You cannot hide.
Eddie, if you come over to my house as a guest in my house, and I allow somebody to come in and even verbally assault you, that's an offense against my domain.
The problem you have is if you invite somebody that raped my family, one of my family members, and beat up the others and killed a few, and then you have them at the house and you invite us over, and you don't expect me to take some action against them.
So you're saying these individuals, negotiators, were actually committed crimes personally, such as rape?
No,
murder.
But they were the leaders behind. No, of course not. They always send soldiers. They send their foot soldiers.
Exactly.
But the commanders behind it.
I know. You seem to be trying to equate that they were the actual rapists.
No. I'm saying, but they were the perpetrators because they're the ones who set it in motion.
Oh, I agree. Listen, you were born shortly after the Nuremberg trials, where there were people who didn't actually turn the gas on the gas chambers, but they still got the punishment.
Herman Hesse.
Yeah.
He defected. He went to England because he didn't want to put up with it. They brought him back.
Yeah. He was born in Nuremberg just a few years after this.
But they brought him back and then sentenced him to life. He died in Spandau.
I agree. Just being part of the chain of command, there is guilt there. But when you say, hey, let's get together and try to work this out, and then you kind of stall them and then bomb them, don't expect them to trust you.
Well,
I know they are long past that.
They worked it out. No, that was the way. But here's the deal. I can't imagine how you form your lips to say Israel is supposed to trust. They're supposed to trust Israel.
All I'm saying is it was an offense against Qatar. I'm not talking about Hamas. I'm talking about Qatar.
But Dave, the Qataris were behind funding and giving aid and comfort to the perpetrator.
Now, if you've got that case, I have not seen that yet. I have not seen that. So I thought it was all Iranian, who is arch enemies of Qatar.
No, the Qataris, they're behind a lot of this. In fact, if you look, where do all of the people we let go from Guantanamo go? Qatar.
Yeah, they don't stay there.
No, they
Qatar has agreed in many ways.
They're like Switzerland,
to be that mediator.
They're Switzerland of the Middle East.
They want to be a mediator.
Right.
And you just got to respect a mediator if you want to be able to have a mediator.
But see what's funny. See, this is what differentiates the Middle East from us. Mm-hmm. I've told you the story about in Philadelphia how I got into the fight with this guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize you're supposed to call fair one. And if you don't call fair one, anything goes.
I understand that.
And so, I start off fighting the guy a year older than me, and I'm beating him. And all of a sudden, I'm 12 years old. A 15-year-old jumps in. I cut.
Yeah, and
I'm looking like around, and there's nobody.
Listen,
it was fair.
If you think Qatar is going to trust Netanyahu, no way.
I don't think he cares. I don't think
it doesn't matter whether he cares.
But see, here's the deal. They were sending a signal: do not mess with us. Do not mess with us.
I understand.
And they're fortunate that Israel stopped where they did. All this BS about genocide. They're not killing any race. They're not killing off. Besides, they're all cousins. They're all relatives. Right?
They're jealous cousins.
Unless you say those people don't really go back to Abraham.
No, they're jealous cousins.
But which ones? The Palestinians.
I'm saying every one of those tribes.
It's Esau's. Yeah, but again, it goes back to Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
You can't expect them. They are always going to Hatfields and McCoy. They're just not going to get along. So what you have to do is send a message.
Well,
you mess with us, you're in trouble. Do not mess with us. As
a Christian, I have to say everything God commands me to do, he enables me to do. And to say that somebody's never going to do
it. They're not. They're Jews, and they're used to a history. It doesn't matter.
They're humanity. And God's offer of salvation is available to all humanity.
Of course it is. But the same God is the one who told Joshua and Caleb to go and annihilate every man, woman, child, and animal. So we tend to sit here and want to.
I know.
Oh, the inhumanity.
I know.
They went in under God's authority and wiped everything out.
Yeah. Who are you to question God? Is really the whole answer.
Exactly.
To that. Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Exactly.
It may not be how I do things, but as I said, I've learned jungle tactics from my childhood in Philadelphia that there's a certain way you have to deal with certain people.
Yeah.
We have gotten soft because we feel we're cultured. We're not savage anymore. So we have to deal with it diplomatically.
Right.
There are people that don't
understand
diplomacy.
And speaking of that, something happened here recently. Kanye West kind of owned up to a bunch of his bad behavior in the past. Mm-hmm. And he had a recent meeting with a very respected rabbi. And he apologized, not just to him, but him as representative of all the Israeli people, the Jewish people, and he just said, look, I was not properly treated for my bipolar condition. And it was that behavior that now Izzy kind of said, well, devil made me do it, or the bipolar made me do it. He still said it was wrong. And to that extent, I want to say, Kanye, it's a good first step. Let's see fruits that follow.
Yeah. The problem is, I don't think Kanye needed to. It's funny. We're taking opposite positions. I'm taking Kanye's side for attacking Jews. And you're kind of defending what he's doing.
I know, because you got a great point there. Because I didn't see anything that really, unless you're such a thin-skinned Hasidic, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it's not even the Hasidim that.
Yeah, it was Jewish business people they was criticizing.
Right, but it's the guys in the suits and ties now with the curly locks coming down.
Exactly.
It's the Jewish. Media industry that owns ABC. They own CBS. They own all of these
clothing lines. That's where they screwed him over.
Right. It was an Under Armour. I can't remember who it was.
Or Adidas.
No, I think it was Under Armour. It wasn't it wasn't Adidas or Nike. It was I think it was Under Armour. Or somebody came up with
or Reebok.
Maybe it was.
Was it Reebok?
Maybe it could have been Adidas. I don't remember. maybe you know what? It could be Adidas because they're German, and they are trying very hard to make up for Holocaust. But no, Kanye never attacked the nation of Israel, the Jewish people. He attacked a segment of people in the industry. You know how we used to talk about the gypsies with this because they're known for certain tactics, whoever, whatever ethnic group, but it was always attacks against a certain segment and not the nation of Israel.
Yeah.
And it was used by the left to go after him because they just didn't like what he said and they didn't like. So I'll tell you what the real deal was. His real sin was that he was a Trump supporter. That's why it became a real issue.
So what I want to say in that, I think what happened here is Kanye chose this specific issue, even though I agree with you. I don't think it was that big a deal. It was just made into a big deal. But I think he wanted to signal that he wants a restart, that he's coming to a place, because for the last 3 years, he's been in a bad place.
Yeah.
I mean, he's parading around girlfriends nude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just not in line with the Kanye West I saw on the platform at Joel Osteen's church is a different Kanye than what I've been seeing the last 3 years.
Right. Well,
you've gone to church with him, right?
Right. His church. Right. But here's the thing about that the left will never forget. They don't forgive. Kanye is done. He can sit there and mea culpa all he wants. They will not accept him any longer. And he can even come out and disavow Trump, but no, you screwed up. You're done. We're through with you. See, that's how they are. I'm not saying what he's doing is wrong.
Right.
And that's not right. He's doing the right thing. I'm just saying if he's doing it in hopes of garnering the favor again of the left and that it's not going to work.
I think it's simpler than that. I think as a father and as a human being, he's trying to come to a place of peace with himself and what kind of example he's been.
Well, if that is the case,
I'm
more
hoping.
Power to him. Praise
I
God.
could just be hoping things or telegraphing things that I want to believe.
Right.
But nonetheless, it's the first time I've heard him really come to terms publicly with his bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
And that's always a good thing, It's an area that I have some expertise in training people how to care for a loved one, going through that and having family members that, I've been through it with them and we've survived and we're still family.
Do you have a take on at all, or do you know anything on the whole, what's come out of in Memphis, the airplane crash, the UPS crash?
That was Louisville.
Was it Louisville?
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry. I thought it was Memphis. I knew it was somewhere in
very little's being said. I looked at the maps. Evidently, it was on takeoff.
Yeah, it was on takeoff. The engine caught on fire.
Yeah.
And then...
And it didn't... It wasn't contained. It flew and burst the fuel tanks and became a fiery ball on the south edge of... the airport's known as Muhammad Ali Airport. It's a major, major airport. And Louisville is a hub for UPS. So they've got the flight data. They got the voice recorder. They're not saying a lot. I right away went to terrorism. I thought, okay, somebody put an explosive on there and detonated it on takeoff.
Well, that's interesting, yeah. Because that thing, it just burst into flame so early
and scattered over several huge warehouses.
Yeah.
So,
it's such a tragedy. I think what was it, six people, but to the pilot, co-pilot, and then of course the crew. It was on its way to Asia. I can't remember if it was Japan or somewhere, but it was on its way. It was going to be a long flight. It was going to be a very long flight.
And this is a very, very old plane.
Yeah, a DC-11.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, McDonnell Douglas. They're not.
I'm sorry. MD-11. McDonnell Douglas, right.
Yep.
which used to be, it was probably made right here. Remember, McDonnell Douglas had their plant here.
We used to have it in actually the talk in Washington at the time was we lost it because Dick Gephardt, majority leader in the House, was mad at Jim Inhofe over a couple of things. And so a defense procurement contract required them to move a project from Tulsa to St. Louis, where Dick Gephardt is from. So it's kind of interesting how we lost that, because that was a major. Eddie, you had just moved to town about that time, didn't you?
No, I was here. No, it happened several years after. I came in 92, so this would have been later 90s, the later 90s.
I know the effect of it hit us.
I think Clinton was president.
It was
in the middle of.
Right. I think it was the 93 budget is when that happened. The budget deal.
It seemed like I was here longer than that, but I don't know. I'm not going to argue about that.
Well, the effect of it took a couple of years.
Well, yeah, but also that's the last plane McDonnell Douglas ever made. From then on, all American planes now, we're like the Euro, what do you call it? The Airbus.
Yeah.
Airbus is a conglomerate of all the German, France, England, and came together to make one plane. And now basically Boeing makes all of our
and people will
airlines.
say ever since then Boeing's been going downhill because they don't have competition.
Okay, yeah, exactly. That's what lack of competition does. It makes you lazy.
Yeah. The whole corporate culture there got really bad. They couldn't even, they did one airship to go up to the space station, and then they couldn't bring it back. And that's why Elon Musk had to go up and get it back.
Yeah, I've heard another side to that, but I don't want to go in that. But I do want to say that, speaking of Elon, what do you think about his new pay package?
Tell me about it. What?
Yeah, they have essentially given him $1 trillion pay package.
Who has?
The stockholders of...
is it Tesla?
Well, yeah, Tesla is, but under Tesla is all of the different divisions. Right. But yeah, the Tesla stockholders have given him this new trillion or multi-trillion dollars. It's the largest pay package of anybody in history. You know,
see, I'm just learning this now.
Yeah, and I don't understand it. I don't.
Now, I felt like he might have been in trouble as he wound down his involvement with Doge, that it might have been taking away from his CEO duties.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it did, because he lost his focus, and the company started affecting Tesla. But now, he's got this other new thing. What is it? It's
he's got his robotics, which is under Tesla.
Right.
He's got Starlink.
Yeah. But
he's got SpaceX.
Right.
He's got the Boring Company.
SpaceX is apart from it.
Right.
But
the Boring Company.
Right. But there's another new one that they're not selling.
And then Neuralink. Which, and then the AI stuff.
There's a new AI thing. I cannot think of the name of it right now, but they're predicting that it is going to be the biggest thing ever.
I just listed 8 different companies he's CEO of. 8. And you talk about lost his focus because he worked on Doge. I don't think he did that much on Doge. I think he had a lot of brilliant young minds.
Right.
Doing it.
But see, that's what his real gift is, knowing which minds to get for this. And, you can buy them.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same for Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
These guys all are the guys who see and are able to find the people that are going to get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I think of Lucky Palmer. We talked about years ago.
Well, actually, his name's Palmer Lucky.
I mean, Palmer Lucky.
Yeah, I know. You think Lucky is a nickname. It's his last name.
Yeah, no, it is Palmer Lucky. Yeah. And Palmer, he is, he got, Zuckerberg tricked him out of and kicked him out of his own invention, which is Oculus,
right?
The VR goggles, and and then he started working on a new thing called augmented reality.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of virtual reality,
Yep.
augmented. So it means you're actually looking at reality,
Yeah.
but you're seeing things that you normally wouldn't see.
Yeah.
And then, and he's got all these, there's a new company, I can't remember the name
Well,
of it.
Joe Rogan had him on recently,
Okay.
and that's where I got up to speed, because I've been hearing for years from you about Palmer Luckey. Most of his efforts are in military stuff that he can't talk about.
Right, exactly. That's what, and Trump is giving him all of these contracts.
Now, one of the things, in fact, former Congressman Bridenstine sat in that chair and told us about Bridenstine was careful. He said directed energy, didn't say lasers, but as a space weapon, because Bridenstine was the first head of Space Force when he was NASA administrator. And that's really where Bridenstine saw the, concentrated effort of Space Force is to have stationary weapons and synchronous orb that can take out other things.
Yeah, because under the first Trump administration, Palmer got, because he was a real strong Trump supporter, people believe that's why he got fired. Because what happened, he sold the company to Zuckerberg, to Facebook, Oculus, and then they kept him on as the division head of this.
That's usually what you want to do.
But then because of his support for Trump, he's very, very staunch, they fired him. And gave him $1 million, $2 million.
But I was just at a guy's house that he sold a huge business directed, special platform, a software company based here in Tulsa, but they had 9 offices, and a Wall Street investment firm back in the .com bubble bought them out, but they actually bought 80% and said to him and his partner, whom said, one of you guys needs to promise to stay on for 2 years. And we want you guys to stay invested to a cap of 20%. We have the other 80%. And
it's like a non-compete.
It is, but it's also, you become that on-site
go-to.
Yeah, the person who can, fix any bubbles or, do anything. Not that you do a lot, but you're committed. You're getting a retainer. Even if you're not actually heading or directing anything, you're a consultant, essentially. You're getting paid to do that. So, Zuckerberg may have been following that standard model.
Yeah.
You're bringing in a company called Oculus. You want to keep the guy in-house.
Yeah, but he got rid of him a lot earlier than that. And if you read the book, I listened to it on Audible.
He didn't tell Rogan the exact timeline.
Right. Yeah, that they got rid of him. But one of the things he's come up with is there's so many things out there, but it's augmented reality. And the difference in, we talked about virtual is just kind of gaming and seeing that virtual reality, but augmented reality is reality. The only difference is you're actually interacting on real time with real things.
One of the things he said.
Well, let me just finish that.
Go ahead.
And so part of this augmented reality, what they did, he set up this system along the border. They're using it now. And what it is, they have drones.
Yep.
And the drones can occupy areas where the the border patrol can't, and it'll alert them if people are trying to sneak in. And then they can send a helicopter or whatever they need to get there right away and catch these people. Yeah. So you don't have to have 10,000 Border Patrol people along the whole perimeter.
Right.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
One of the things he said, and he started this way, and I'll just say, your dad, much of his career when he wasn't in uniform, was working the VA, right?
Right.
One of the most expensive things for the VA to deal with is neck injuries, because they're devastating. They're killers. They're paralyzers. And he said, Luckey said, the weight of a helmet is really an important issue in dealing with, protecting people's health and their necks and stuff. And he said, you saw the SEAL Team 6 go in and get bin Laden and stuff, and you would see these guys with this little camera mounted on top.
Right.
He called it a unicorn. That was the term they used for that.
That adds extra weight.
That's all gone, yeah. So what they're going to have now is a lighter, still a very protective helmet, but not weighing nearly as much as those solid steel or, whatever. But he said, and then almost like the cockpit of a fighter jet.
Right.
It's this glass shield over you, but you've got things superimposed because you're not only what you can see visually, but that drone up here and this here is saying, okay, right here's where 3 guys
are hiding.
Yeah. Who have a, machine gun
waiting for
as soon as you turn that corner. And those are the brilliant things that Lucky's coming up with.
Yeah.
And he's got the teams doing that. So that was one of the things he says, most I can't tell you about, but that's one that we're already testing. He says it's not a secret anymore.
What's so amazing is he started with Oculus. If you know Oculus, you can get it at Best Buy now. It's owned by Facebook. It's these virtual reality goggles. Have you ever put any of those on? Have you ever done that?
I had something similar. It was something that you literally put your phone in there and put in. It was a cheap device.
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, that's the early one. That's the early Oculus one. Yeah, and it was 3D. Everything's in 3D. But the craziest one, we put my mother in it, and she just started laughing and couldn't believe it. But you're sitting there and you look around and you look to your left and there's an elephant's leg.
Oh, God.
And then you look to the right, there's another elephant's leg. And then all of a sudden you look up and there's the elephant's trunk above you. And then if you turn around and back up, you're backing away and you see the whole elephant and you look, I mean, it's the most amazing. And how they do this, I don't know, because I mean, it's done with all these cameras.
Can you imagine?
But how do you, how are you able to move with the camera, and see as you move, and you can crawl under the whole elephant. I mean, it is the most amazing thing. And then the other one that you have to be sitting down.
It's a good thing your mom didn't.
A roller coaster.
It's a good thing your mom didn't have her medical marijuana card and smoking while she's doing it.
Yeah, no. But anyway, they've got you going on this roller coaster and you're going through a mountain and you have to be sitting down because if not, you'll fall over because your mind, you'll hit the vertigo. Your brain isn't telling you and you're actually, and after a while you lose.
It takes over.
You don't know where you are anymore, and when it does this or this or this, and you're starting to move with this thing, and and next thing you know, boom. So you have to be sitting down. But no, I mean, he started when he was, I think it was like 10 or 12 years old.
Oh yeah,
that's how crazy this is.
He did talk about that motorhome in the back of the house.
His parents gave him. He had a mobile home out that they didn't use, and that's where he lived. And he started with, get this, a Commodore 64.
Yeah. And
then he got another one. He hooked them all up. I mean, can you imagine a 12-year-old already having a vision for what he wanted to create and doing it?
Yeah.
He spent all of his time, never went to college. And it just shows that university is overrated.
Eddie,
unless you're a football fan.
Yeah. We'll get into sports. By the way, I want to clean up a few things. Coldwater, Kansas.
Oh, where it is?
It's about an hour west of Wichita. So it's right down on
Wichita. Yeah, it's on the Colorado border.
It's not that far. It's close to Alva, Oklahoma. It's on the Oklahoma border.
Oh, so
or about 10 minutes north of Oklahoma.
Okay, so it's further south.
Yeah.
South and west.
Yeah. Now, it is a county seat of a county, Comanche County, but the total population last census was only 687, which means
687 people.
Yeah, which means maybe 500 registered or voting age people, maybe 500, which means probably only about 250 at best voted, which means he might have got 200 votes. So when you say 80%, it's, this, it was. It's kind of like who's willing to do it. I've been to some little towns where they almost fight over who has to.
That's funny.
Yeah. So there's that. By the way, we mentioned about earlier in the show, Tish Hyman. And the men in the locker room and stuff. She's really finding her voice, and there's a YMCA. She's that's very supportive of her position. It's up in Sacramento, and she says Tuesday and Thursday I'm working out. I want y'all to come join me. So she is creating events, and the brilliant thing about this is she's perfect for California on this issue because she's a successful artist, a woman. Minority. And here's the thing, Eddie, and you know this, there are some cultural shifts that the Black community is far more resistant of than the rest of us. For instance, they don't accept homosexual marriage by and large nearly as much as other ethnic communities. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I think we got the right optics for this, and I think we're going to start maybe to see reforms. So that's just me cleaning up some notes I didn't get a chance to bring up.
Sure. Hey, one thing from our field correspondent, Alto.
What's up, Alto?
He says Ron Durbin of the Guerrilla Publishing. You may know
I know
about
Ron.
this. Yeah. He's been shaking up Coweta. There's a cover-up of a sexual misconduct. Mm-hmm. And he's also all over Stillwater case where a student raped and tried to strangle several girls. He's facing 80 years in prison as an adult, and the judge probably turned it down. Let me make sure. And the judge turned it around and now is looking at community service and counseling, allegedly courtesy of the father's influence as a prominent person in the community. Have you heard about this case?
No, there's a few things brewing in Payne County, which is Stillwater. I don't know. Ron has, I met Ron early on when he started helping the efforts it was right after 788. Mm-hmm. And he and I became pretty good friends. And I actually, when I ran Sooner Politics Citizen of the Year, the Freedom Award, he was my first Citizen of the Year because of what he did fighting the health department, which was trying to kill medical marijuana unconstitutionally. In fact, because of his efforts, then the attorney general sided with him and told the health department, you can't do that. You're going too far. And so Ron was doing a lot of good things. He and I worked on some other projects together and that. And then I disagreed with the bill he was pushing, and he totally disavowed me. And this is the problem with Ron is he doesn't know how to keep friends. And
I need to give him a call.
Yeah. He had some antics. He turned himself in for something. He got indicted locally here, something involving a judge, because he's known to be pretty disrespectful. And he finds out about it, so he goes down to the sheriff's office and says, I'm turning myself in. And they said, well, we don't have your papers yet. That was earlier today. Come back tomorrow. Let us arrest you tomorrow. Right?
Let us arrest you tomorrow.
So the next day, he and some friends come down. He's doing Facebook Live outside the courthouse. And he's doing and several of the TV stations were there. And he's kind of doing a press conference explaining why. And he says, okay, let's go in. And the sheriff meets him at the door and refuses to let the press in. Refuses to let any other citizen who looked like they had anything to do with it. And Ron said, you're not going to let them in. I'm not going in. And they strong-armed him, slammed him to the pavement. And another guy opens the door, hits his head, the corner of the door. And
does he do this?
Oh, yeah. And he's screaming and yelling. And the next week, I was down there talking to the officers. I said, guys, you guys played right into his hands. I said, you did not need to do this strong arm thing.
Right.
And I said, because I like Vic Regalado and I like his team and I try to help him in that. But I like, this was not the way to deal with Ron Durbin. And they did not defend themselves. They realized it was. But Durbin has since suspended his bar certification as an attorney. So I don't know where things are at with Ron, but I've given up on trying to work with him. And he's, I don't know, he's had some health issues too. And
if you're listening or watching Ron, give me a call.
There we go.
I'll be your advocate.
Well, and you happen to know one of his associates who was getting his bar passed. It was a city councilor. I forget his name, young man. And they pretty much threw him off the city council.
Oh, the last time he was there. Oh, yeah. They conspired against him and made up all of this stuff about his divorce and being a child abuser.
G.T. Bynum lied about him, according to him, to the Oklahoma bar.
Right.
And they did not grant him his bar.
Yeah. I'm wondering where that case is because he sued GT for libel. So I wonder whatever happened on that deal.
Because, you see, and he evidently Durbin was going to hand over his law practice to this guy, or something like that.
Right.
And Ron, if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to smear you or anything. I'm trying to get the truth. I'm kind of afraid to even invite you in to sit in studio, just given some of your past antics and hostility towards me. If I'm wrong, let me know. Okay.
You heard it first.
I'm a pretty redemptive guy, as most people know. But yeah, that's Ron. And actually, to be honest with you, in some ways, I think we need more Ron Durbins.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Kunzweiler, I know you're mad at me.
Switching to probably the biggest issue right now is the government shutdown.
Yeah.
We've set a new record for the length of a shutdown. And what disturbs me is if the Republicans do what the Democrats are doing, which they've done in the past, it's the Republicans that are the bad guys.
Oh, Trump shut the government down, don't you know?
Now this time it's the Democrats doing it, but it's Trump and the Republicans' fault again. So it's like those who buy this stuff are the most gullible people in the world. And the media is the most culpable group involved. But it just baffles me how they can't. And that's why I said, look, you're going to take a bath either way. You will not get any credit as Republicans. You will not get any credit for capitulating now. You're so far in, sit it out.
Yep.
Do what you feel what started you on this track. Sit it out and make them heal, because that's the only way. And see, here's the beauty. This election that just happened this past week means nothing. Nothing. It's the same states, the same cities, the same towns that have been run by corrupt, ignorant, stupid Democrats, and those towns will suffer and pay because they're listening to that. So get over that. Do what you got to do now and wait for 2 years from now.
Yeah.
You have 2 years to do this and make the Democrats look as bad as you can and make them eat everything that they're doing, which is crap. And so that's the only thing that I can say, that stand strong and hang in there and do not yield to any kind of pressure to give in.
So the big thing where the public is at first feeling this is the food stamps. SNAP program, right? And then secondly, air travel.
Right.
And that air travel is actually just starting this weekend.
Right.
What I was told is the airlines have been kind of given a mandate or a certain quota, a limit, and it's up to an airline to decide. I don't think the airlines, I mean, yeah, they will affect the hubs, but probably not a hub to a hub, like going from, O'Hare to Houston is not going to be changed.
See,
but the connecting little flights, like 4 flights a day to Tulsa, will probably be dropped to 2 or 3. Those little flights.
Well, here's a solution. My dear friend, Mark Wayne Mullen, let the airlines pay for the air traffic controllers. Okay. And then once this is over, pay them back. See, we've done this in the past. Remember with the COVID shutdown, the Republicans can, and then if the Democrats were to say, oh, you can't do that, then it's on the Democrats that are failing to pay these air traffic controllers.
Okay,
let's put it on them.
Let's go dig a little deeper on that. Do you remember the military got paid a week ago by a donor who came up with $130 million?
Right. And he just did that on his right. I don't think he's being paid back. But what I'm saying, if he is, then more power to it. But what I'm saying is if the airlines, if United, Delta, American, the big ones in particular, and some of the others, got together and say, okay, we're going to put in $1 billion to pay these air traffic controllers, and then when it's over, then we pay them back for what they didn't get, before, and we can because it'll be in the budget, right? It'll be in the budget now. So that's one thing. Now, honestly, that's kind of a small thing compared to the SNAP program, okay, which is the welfare food program. And I know people are going to think
that we call part of the agriculture department rather than welfare department.
Right. And I know people are going to be upset with me because everybody knows somebody who legitimately needs to be on the program. Of course they are. But the problem is those who don't need to be on the program. And I guarantee you that those who don't need to be on the program are the ones that are whining the loudest because the scam is up, okay? You're not getting your money that you... I think I told this story before about this mother of a kid that I used to mentor. And she had 4 kids, every one of them out of wedlock with each one had a different father. And so they made her get a job. When Bush put into where you didn't get paid a welfare if you don't have a job, okay? Or looking for a job at least. So she gets a job and then she gets herself fired 2 weeks, 3 weeks in.
Sure.
Because she was griping about this job, how she didn't want this job. Well, so what happened with this kid, there was a lady from Jenks that managed to get her to sign over the rights to
guardianship.
Guardianship. And then she didn't even realize what was happening, that all of a sudden her funds got cut off because she no longer had a right to him. She was so ticked because she'd taken my money. It wasn't about my son.
Right.
She's taking my money. She didn't care if the kid lived somewhere else because now she got the money and less kids. So what does she do?
She spread her legs. Sorry, that's about as PG as I can get.
I guess. She has another one to replace the one that was stolen from her.
Yep.
But it wasn't a child that was stolen from her. It was her SNAP and all of the, what is it, FDAC or AD, I can't remember what they
AFDC.
AFDC.
Aid for Dependent Children.
Right. It was taken away. So what I'm saying is those people are out there. And she's not an odd case, okay? There's thousands of, in fact, I think they figured out, what was it, 38% of our population is on welfare of some sort. I mean, it's insane. It's just ridiculous.
They've made it to where you can't get health insurance without the government help for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, to quote the words of the immortal Senator Phil Graham from Texas, it's time some of those riding the wagon got out and helped push.
Well, and Clinton was for it too, cutting welfare. That was one of his.
Well, I listened to Dick Morris talk about that. He told him, he says, if you want to get reelected, you're going to have to pass this. Right. And he did. He says, the other thing is you cannot go to Martha's Vineyard for vacation. You got to go to Wyoming. And so he went to Jackson Hole, which is about as uppity as you can get in Wyoming, just outside of Yellowstone Gates. And then he shows up at the Democrat convention and everybody's giving him muzzle. He says, well, you got to vote for me so we can fix it. But he just did it because he needed the votes of the middle class.
Yeah, but nevertheless, he did it. And it actually helped our economy.
Yes,
when he did it. It did. So, and then Bush tried it, and it lasted for a little while, and then the Democrats came back into power later and changed.
Let's dig deeper. Not only did it help the economy. Do you remember from 97 to 2001, we got rid of our budget deficit. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. That was Bill Clinton was the only president we've had in better part of a century to operate under a balanced budget. Now, it was because Gingrich pushed him to it. And John Kasich, of all people. Kasich used to be a strong conservative. I remember I actually happened to had my family in D.C. The only time I've ever gone out there. And one of our aides, arranged for an aide to take us around. We go into the gallery of the house, where the State of the Union is. And she turns to me, she's a college girl from out there at Tahlequah. So I've never seen Gingrich in here. He's never in here. And there was John Kasich speaking and the Democrats going nuts. And they called for a vote, and I actually watched them pass a budget.
That's what I want to ask you this. Speaking of John Kasich, what happened to him? Not where did he go or whatever, but do you think he was so upset at the embarrassment of, because you know how Trump is. Remember that first time? He was brutal. Mm-hmm. And he, Jeb Bush, and Paul, not Ron, what's his, Senator Paul, Rand Paul. Yeah. Those three are the ones he was the hardest on. But Kasich, was Kasich running against Bush or against?
No, it was Trump.
It was Trump. That's what I thought he was in the 16. First one. And I think he took it so personally, whereas the rest of them not as much. And actually, what the most embarrassing ones. And the people that really could have taken umbrage to the way they were treated was Ted Cruz and Little Marco. Yeah. And yet, who is his most trusted advisor?
But let's go to your original point. What happened to Kasich? Mm-hmm. Kasich decided to run for governor. That moves him from legislative and policy-minded to executive. How do I run the state of Ohio?
Right.
And I think he lost his anchor. I think he became all about pragmatism. Now, here's the important thing. Obamacare passes. Ohio sets up a state exchange and everything. And once you become dependent on that Medicaid money running your state subsidy for health insurance, all of a sudden, how do you go back? And so he was one of them in 16 who was not for getting rid of Obamacare. And if you remember when Trump spent his first 3 months trying to get rid of Obamacare, and he couldn't get Paul Ryan to support it. Mm-hmm. And he said, fine, I'm dropping the issue. We're going to go to tax cuts. And that's when he turned the economy on. Right. But it's for Kasich, he became a pragmatist and he lost his ideals. He's no longer an idealist. He's just about pragmatism.
Well, but he became bitter. I mean, you could see he was really, really bitter.
I don't think, and I'm projecting here, I don't think a guy like him can really feel proud of himself for what he's become. Because in a state like Ohio, you've got big government there. It's not New York and New Jersey or even Michigan, but it's a big government. Yeah. It's a big state.
Another thing with this budget being affected, which it was supposed to come anyway, and that is the trimming back of Obamacare. Mm-hmm. See, Obamacare was a mess from the beginning. It was a lie, basically, what they've done. What they did, to get the states on board, they said, we will subsidize you to like 90%. And then slowly
at the start. Yeah, it filled that out.
Right.
After 10 years,
right.
It's supposed to be gone.
Right. And
that was last year. It was 10 years.
Right. And so now here we are, and the states can't do it anymore. They can't fill the budget because it's too expensive because of Obamacare, hospitals, doctors, everybody, money was free flowing. So what do? Let's charge more. So through medical inflation, the costs have become even more expensive than they were 2-3 years ago. And now the government says, oops, we're done.
Okay, use your analogy from higher ed. The more money that comes available in student loans and FAFSA and all that, what happens to tuition? Does it go down?
No.
It's whatever the market will bear.
Exactly.
And so the same thing with healthcare. The hospital is going to charge whatever they can get away with charging.
Exactly. Totally.
In fact, is that not it?
That is. In fact, you're saying exactly what a guy told me. There was a negotiator for the Tulsa Police Department. It's not just Tulsa. I think he does Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Phoenix or something. He does different
group policies.
No, he negotiates contracts.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Union binding arbitration.
Right,
union.
exactly. Yeah. And so he came on our show, the Pat Campbell show back then, and I'm interviewing him, and I said, well, how much is enough? Where you going? And he didn't care. He just came out and said it, whatever the market will bear. Yeah. We're going to keep pushing it. As long as we're going to push for more. The old saying, how much is enough? Just a little bit more.
Because that's what he's paid to do.
Right, exactly. And he didn't make any qualms about it. And so we've boxed ourselves into several corners, actually. I mean, or one big one, because we've allowed the hospitals to raise their prices. And then we've been paying it out of tax money to subsidize all of these plans and programs. And now all of a sudden, Medicare gets cut back. What they've trimmed is all of these bennies, the dental, the food money that they were giving out, and this, all of a sudden they cut it back. And how dare United Healthcare? How dare Humana? How dare Communicate? Whoever it is, how dare they do this? And of course they're going to blame Trump. But it's not Trump. It's because you bought into a lie in the beginning that it was always going to be like this. And they never promised that. They said that it's going to be cut back. All of this has to be pared back for us to survive.
What's the official name of Obama's health care reforms?
The Affordable Care Act.
Affordable.
Yeah.
Eddie, what have happened to policies now in 10 years? Price of policies, they have gone way up.
Right. Yeah.
I'm hearing as much as 500%. I don't know.
Oh, I believe it. Oh, no, exactly. Because you can never get enough free money. Mm-hmm. There's never enough.
Right.
Like this guy said, I asked him, how much is enough? But he said a little bit more.
It was sold to us in that it was going to drop the cost of keeping us healthy.
Yeah, right.
And it was a lie. It was a lie from the beginning. Now, the subsidy, they wanted it to go away. How did they think the American people were going to handle being weaned off of this 90% of the cost of these subsidies?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, the crazy thing is the state legislatures that we're trying to sell this to everybody. And one of the big ones is our insurance commissioner, Glenn Mulready.
Glenn, we're calling you out.
We used to argue about this all the time, that he was buying into it. And, the exchanges it's back when he worked for an insurance company that wrote group policies that were the beneficiaries of this. And so, but I saw, and many people saw, it's unsustainable. You cannot, and every time, well, look at Utah, it's a success there. Well, when I looked at the top salespeople, the top 50 or more salespeople, all work for these groups that run the group plans, which is, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Corporations pay these things for group plans. Individual agents were not making money on the way they did it.
Now let's go back 12 years ago for Obamacare. You're an independent agent. You had scores of policies you could write.
Right. Different companies and different policies.
What happened to the amount of plans that you could offer?
At one point in the beginning, it ended up, I think there were only 3 in the whole state that you could, 3 companies, Blue Cross, I think Aetna, and I can't remember who is. Now it's grown some more because others figured out how to work this and get this government cheese.
Oh, there's some bad ones out there. I've read bad reviews on what's called AM Better Health.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. AM Better, yeah.
And
I'm sure there are. I mean, here's a tip for you, okay? If you're a Christian and you don't drink or you don't feel bad about lying that you drink, I like to tell you the truth.
We're not pointing names.
No, we're
not talking about anyone in particular.
It's a Christian. What is it?
Yeah, Medishare. I think there's a few of them out there.
Yeah, but the big one is Medishare is the name of it. The big one. Okay, and these companies are actually very good, and they're cheaper. Unless you're on Obamacare. But if you're just a normal person that doesn't want to spend through the nose what others do, then Medishare is definitely way to go for Christians. I could sell it, but I don't. People call me. I just give them the phone number here or the website because you can do it yourself. Yeah. Medishare.com. And you put in, how old you are, male, female. I mean, there's only a few credits. And then they have, what I like, they have a representative come on that will interview you and find out, and they're the nicest, friendliest. I mean, it's like, wow, it's like the 50s customer service, But anyway, those companies are really good, especially if you're between 55 and 65, and then until you're eligible for Medicare, and then at that point you won't do that anyway. So here's
the thing, Eddie, because you're right on point with this shutdown. This shutdown's about nothing else but Obamacare, right? And funding it. And what the Democrats want us to do is guarantee health care coverage for everybody who's here illegally.
Yes, that's the
not even documented.
Exactly. See, that's the big issue. I'm glad you drove it to that because I did want to get to that it's not even about AFDC or affordable care for dependent children. You've got to separate things, and what's really costing so much money to our whole healthcare system is, one is the people who use it as their insurance plan. I know people personally. We took our son to ER one night after a soccer game, and we thought he broke his arm, and we tried to let him get over. We thought maybe it was just a sprain or bruise, but as the night went on, it got worse and where he couldn't sleep. So we took him to ER, St. Francis ER, about 1 a.m. And I go out, and there's this couple sitting out there that I knew. And I said, "Whoa, what are you doing here? Is emergency? You got?" No, we just don't have any insurance. And so we bring him here because they have to, if you go to ER, you have to be treated. They can't turn you away.
That's, federal mandate.
Right. They have to treat you. And then apparently you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay it back. And
they have to treat you. They can try to bill you.
Right. They can bill you. I'm saying, but they have to treat you. And then after they're going to send you a bill. But the people who can't pay or whatever, if you have enough money, they can bring legal stuff against you. But if you don't, then they just write it off. And so, but the problem is now, if you go to an ER now, It was ridiculous last time we took my mother, and they didn't have rooms anymore.
Yeah.
And the whole hallway is lined up with gurneys full of people in the hall, some of them moaning and crying out, and they're all out in the hallways.
Yep.
I mean, there are probably 25, 30 of these things lined up with patients laying on them, and they're laying on these things from anywhere from 5 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, are you getting to, they say, yeah, sorry, we don't have any rooms. As soon as the room, and then they're under pressure to kick people out of that are there out of the hospital so they can fit these new ones in.
Hey,
it's insane what's happened to our medical.
I went in at 7 a.m. with abdominal pain, and about 1 p.m, I went to emergency room. Okay, it was during the week. It was a weekday. About 1 p.m, they said, "Yeah, you got appendicitis. We're going to have to operate." And I finally went into surgery at 10:30 that night. Wow. I had been there 13 hours.
Well, you could have died if it had burst on you. I mean, you would think they would. Did they X-ray it and determine you?
Yeah, they put me through something where it was either a CAT scan or a.
So they determined you weren't in a dire need. I mean, emergency.
They could see swelling, but not a burst.
Right.
And so they said, we don't think it's burst yet. We think it's swelling. But yeah.
If it bursts,
oh, yeah.
it's iffy.
It's deadly. Now, I've talked to people who has burst, and they said, thank God we've got better antibiotics. That you have a chance. Right. But it's not something you mess with. My point was, I was 15 hours before I got treatment.
Yeah. No, I know. Like I said, my mom, we took her in there. The good thing is a lot of these, like under the Medicare plans now, they have telehealth. And so you go online and then they have some physician's assistant sitting there.
Or a nurse. Yeah.
Right, or a nurse. And you tell them what your problems are. And then they determine whether you need to go to the hospital.
Well,
where
to that point.
They can write you a prescription.
To that point, about 5 years ago, I've got my appendix is gone, but now I've got this really bad cramping. It's coming in waves. And it isn't my first go around with kidney stones. So right away, I figured out I got kidney stone. And it was like 1 a.m. And so I go downstairs okay, Eddie, you've been with your wife when she's gone into labor, right? You know how the contractions will come in waves, right?
I was even in the delivery room.
Yeah, so was I. So anyway, so you know what it's like. It comes in waves, but by God, when she's having the contractions, shut your mouth, and you don't want to let her squeeze your hand or she'll break your knuckles, right? When you're going through that. And
just shut up. Yeah. Shut up and deal with it, woman.
Yeah. Women who have gone through kidney stones and natural childbirth have told me the kidney stones were worse. Okay. So it's that bad. So between really bad waves of pain, because what's happening, your ureter from the kidney to the bladder, it's spasming. And that has pain like you wouldn't believe. So I run downstairs and I'm going to the medicine supply. Yes, I've got an oxycodone from the last dental surgery I had. And I took that thing and I quick grabbed my Blue Cross card, 24-hour nurse line. I called it up and she answered pretty quick. And I said, here's what I think I'm dealing with, and she asked me a bunch of basic questions. Are you having a fever? Are you sweating? And I said, no, I got to tell you, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, I just took an oxycodone. I happen to have one. And she said, well, I think you just saved yourself a night in the ER. That's why you don't throw those away. You see those commercials, get rid of the old painkillers. If you don't have kids around and it's safe in your house, you might consider hanging on to one for situations just like this.
It's so funny you say that because, I used to go to dentist a lot 20 years ago. And they always give you not hydroxychloroquine. What is it?
Hydrocodone is one of them.
Yeah, hydrocodone.
Or oxycodone.
Oxycodone is the real, not, prescription, but the hydrocodone, I guess it's prescription, but it's not it's not the same as oxy.
Yeah.
The hydrocodone. And so the dentist always gives me the hydrocodone, 20 tablets or something to take. I never used them.
Yeah.
I would, Tylenol or something would take care of if I got a filling or this or that. So I had this closet full of bottles of hydrocodone, and so I, like you with the kidney stone, I've never had that, but I've had the what is it? Man, I just had it in my mind. Oh my goodness, there's diverticulitis.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so one is inflammation. The other one's when it bursts. Mm-hmm. So I think I had the itis where it was inflamed. But let me tell you, I've never had anything. It felt like somebody was stabbing me.
Yeah.
With about a 6-inch knife.
Yeah.
And it would go boom, 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 boom all across my whole stomach.
Yeah. And
I'm sitting there writhing and crying out to God and I can't describe to you. You'd have to. I hope you never have to. But
yeah.
But so anyway, so nothing was working, and I'm thinking, and I'm in this pain, and I call the doctor, and come on in. And so my wife gets me, and I'm crawling basically into the thing, and they say, we're going to give you the option, you go to the hospital or not. I said, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. Just give me some antibiotics. And that's okay, but it's at your own risk because if it bursts, which I had a friend who died. This lady died when it burst because then from your intestines.
Yeah, if they spill, it'll kill you.
Right. Diverticulitis, these pockets, these holes that you get in your intestine. And if it bursts and your whole body is inside is full of fecal matter, basically.
Oh, yeah. And all the stomach acids and all that. Yeah.
Right. But anyway, so I said, no, I'll take a chance. So anyway, so I'm at home and I said, so these antibiotics should kick in a few hours. He said, oh, no. I said, this will work. It'll be tomorrow before this. And I was like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I'm home, I'm writhing and I'm praying, crying out to God. And, oh, help me. And all of a sudden, this idea pops in my head. In the middle of my crying out to God, help me with, says, try one of those hydrocodones and you think, because it never worked like with my migraines or headaches or this or that. It never worked on anything. It just never worked. But all of a sudden, try a hydrocodone. I went in and took one. In 10 minutes, it was gone.
Oh, that's
the pain
awesome.
I know. And I was just thinking, it was so amazing that I never used these things.
Right.
But all of a sudden, God told me, take this thing. And I know I'm sounding weird because I said, God told me, I don't know where else I would have, all of a sudden it just pops in my, try a hydrocodone. But anyway, so I took this hydrocodone, took it away, and I was good for the rest of the day. And then the next day, the antibiotic kicked in anyway. Yeah. And I was good to go.
There you go.
But it's just kind of funny. These stories, you're getting all of these background stories.
The first time I had a kidney stone, I literally went into the clinic, family medical care, and they gave me on the spot Demerol. Now, you can't get Demerol anymore. Back then, they wrote a prescription. Now, it was so bad, I threw up on the exam room floor.
Really?
When pain is that bad that you throw up, it's bad. I
remember people shooting up Demerol. I'm holding them down with take it and melt it. And
it's basically heroin.
Yeah.
And so, or morphine or whatever. Right. And so they give my wife a prescription for some Demerol pills. You could still get them down at Walgreens, and she gets them for me at home and I slept like I never slept. I don't even remember going to get bad, but I passed it. But here's the thing. This time I told the nurse, I said, I'm not asking you. I told you. I'm telling you, I'm taking one. And then I was fine. But a week later, I'm like, things aren't quite weird. Well, evidently it passed to my bladder, but couldn't go any further. It was creating obstruction. So I go into the clinic. And they said, okay, well, here, let's get your prescription. And I look at Flomax. Oh, come on. I'm not that old. And they said, trust me, it'll help. One pill. It just kind of opens the channel, folks. I mean,
and we're not talking about breathing better. You know?
No, But hey, if you got a good flow, you got a good flow. And you know what? The stone is no more, and I've never had that since. So I'm just telling you, if you got kidney stones and your Uncle Tom or your dad's got a Flomax, you might grab one.
Why's it got to be Uncle Tom?
I don't know. Uncle Jim.
How about Uncle Chuck?
Yeah.
No, hey.
But it's a medicine for people with prostate blockage.
I know. Yeah, Flomax. I see him advertising. But yeah. Well, thank you for allowing us to share our medical issues with you. It reminds me of a Jerry Seinfeld episode. He does a monologue. Yeah. And it was talking when you get a certain age, there's two things that come up in every conversation among elderly people.
Yes.
One's your diet, what you're eating, and the other one is your medical issues. Yeah. And we've dealt with one of those today extensively.
I've got a little bit of news. Trump just made a deal with, is it Lilly or someone, to get Ozempic for dirt cheap.
The weight loss.
It's that British weight loss medicine. Seems to be the fad and everything. Evidently, it costs typically like around $800 a month.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Because it's typically not a benefit of most healthcare plans.
Right.
But now it's going to be getting approved for Medicare.
Yeah, it's actually the actual original use is, I had it and I cannot remember what it's for, but it's not for weight loss. It's for another issue. I think it's skin. Actually, I think it's a skin disease thing. Oh, I may be getting Dupixent. I think I'm getting Dupixent and Ozempic. But Ozempic. The sad thing though about it is that you're getting people hooked on this as an alternative to just eating better.
Right.
I can eat whatever I want.
It's like binging and purging kind of thing. Yeah. That's not a strategy for health,
No. Hey, let's wrap it up. It's we're at over 2.5 hours here. Thank you for indulging us. I do want to share this. It was 26-0. Yeah. Texas Tech over BYU. And the BYU apparently just scored. It's 26-6 now.
And now they got first and goal. BYU might be scoring again.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. I see it's they have the ball. I know they have the ball. I can't tell which.
Penn State was down quite a bit, and they're almost coming to.
Who are they playing today?
Indiana.
Well,
number 2 team in the nation.
That's to be expected then.
Well, but the fact that Penn State, who just fired their coach, is now competing with the number 2 team.
Well, yeah. Oh, no, I understand that. So, you're right. And let me see.
By the way, your son's old team, Georgia Tech.
Right.
Your son, who's now with the Panthers, is vice president operations, but he handled football operations for Georgia Tech. They just got defeated, and not a team that it was North Carolina State defeated them.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. What's the old any given Sunday, any given Saturday in football, college football, or pro football, or even baseball, basketball. When you hit a certain level, and it's tough because there's so many things that affect it. How you're feeling that. Our coach, we had an undefeated season my senior year. And my coach had a tactic that I think every coach should use. It's harder to do it with the media today, but so every Saturday when we played, we would come early and then we'd be in the gym, we'd get suited up, and then we lay on the mats where the wrestlers were, just to rest before the game and everybody's nervous. And he would come out and all week he'd been telling us, and then on Saturday he would drive it home about this team is the toughest team you're going to face. They'll rock your jocks. They'll do this, and we're just scared to death and ready for this thing. And then we end up beating 39-6 or 40 to something, and every week he would do the same thing, and we never got wise to it. No matter how good or how weak the team was, he had us scared.
Right. But here's the thing, because you guys, were undefeated that year, you get about 6 or 7 games in, and all of a sudden you got a target on your back. Like, for instance, Penn State. They're saying, this is the number 2 team in the nation.
Well, not anymore, they're not, but
I'm saying
Indiana. Oh, I see what you mean. The other way around, yeah.
And Penn State's trying to work their people up. So everybody's going to like make their best shot to take on the king of the hill, right?
Well, yeah, and you tell Penn State, man, and that commercial, you know, with the cheese, yeah. Man, it's been a long grind. No, but with Penn State, my speech would be, listen, you know, it's all about pride now. Your coach has been fired. You dropped out of the top 20.
Yeah.
You're kind of a byword in the college football circles. You know, all we have left to play for is our pride.
That's a good point.
Are you going to stand up and show some pride? And then, you know, get them worked up that way. That's to me the type of tactic you have to take with the Penn State. And then, of course, you got Indiana, who starts believing their press clippings and, you know, we're God's gift to football. And
that's it.
They have to fight that.
That's it. Yeah, because especially right after a big game, you might win the big game against the top opponent, and then the next week you get smacked bad. Because it's hard to stay up game after game after game. Whereas, you know, the people that they're marking on the calendar, that's our toughest opponent. That's the, you know, the one we're looking for.
Hey, some more scores. Besides the Penn State has the ball right now too. But Georgia, Mississippi State, 41-14. Georgia.
Yeah, Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi's great.
Right, but Mississippi State started out on a tear in the beginning.
You're right.
And they had some close games, but Georgia now all of a sudden is finishing strong. SMU is over Boston College 38-6. Ohio State 24-3
over
Purdue. Texas A&M, that one comes on at 2:30. So that's it for now. So
have you got a tortilla report though? How many tortillas have flown?
Well, none.
I guess they're doing well.
Yeah. Here says why the Texas Tech tortilla toss is banned. So they're explaining why, but I don't need to read that because it just makes me, you know. Here's a funny one. Most recently, during Colorado's 2024 matchup against the Red Raiders in Lubbock, former two-way Heisman Trophy winner and current Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver cornerback Travis Hunter, he snagged a tortilla. It's funny the way you picture him, you know, a receiver. No, but he snagged a tortilla, which landed a few inches in front of him on the field seconds before Tech snapped, and he stuffed it in his pants.
Yeah.
I don't know what the heck is that? No, it's a mid-game snack, perhaps.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, they're making fun of it, but it's silly.
You know what else motivates, especially in the media days, is when a coach will get to his team, he says, you know what the other team's saying about you. You know what their coach just said, you know, and get them all offended.
Yeah.
Are you really who they say you are? Yeah. Are you better than that? You know, and I love it. You know, I love the role of coaching in young men. You were a high school coach. You know the special place you develop when those kids believe in you. And believe in you.
I'll tell you, the kids I coached at Victory and the Union, I'll see them. You know, these guys are 40 years old now. That shows how long ago it's been. Or they'll email, and a couple of them are. One was one of the mayor of Jenks was one of the kids that I coached.
Yeah.
And he still calls me, Coach, how you doing? How you doing? You know, when I see him, hey, Coach, and they still call me for advice or this and that. It's amazing the power that a coach, somebody like, imagine Bill Blankenship, my son, you know, he's now vice president with Panther. He comes to town, so we go see Coach Blankenship over in his office. And it's a different relationship because now, you know, he's kind of on a par and he makes more money than Bill makes or whatever. Yeah. But when you watch him, Coach Blankenship will always have the superior. He always looks up still.
The mentorship.
Right. He still looks up to him and defers to Coach.
Okay.
I mean, there's an affection there because he respected the man so much.
See, I was a tennis coach in high school, no a tennis team, but in football, there's something about football that, because it's a team sport and everything, people find their identity in that team. I wasn't a training coach. I was media, I was operations, I was bus driver, I was photographer, but the kids will still come up to me today. Many of them, family men in their 30s now. Mr. Van, and here's the thing, Eddie, they remember me as somebody at a very impressionable time of their life, invested in them and believed in them. And that's so important to a young man, to have those kind of men who are mentors who believe in them.
And what's really rewarding, though, is when you see the kids that you raised, essentially. I'm talking kids that were 7, 8 years old.
Yeah, you started way earlier.
And then all the way through high school. But you see this, and today they're successful businessmen, or they're successful here. Now, there's always the ones that you have a hard time with there, and they're the ones that never make it. It's funny how you can usually tell who's going to succeed in life and not by the way they have a relationship with their coach or whatever. And Union had a kid when Coach Blankenship was there many years. This is like in the it was in the late 90s, around 2000. Great place. I mean, he could have been a superstar at any of the universities, running back. And one of his big problems was his mother. She went in school. She's breaking the trophy case. She's mad because they, kicked her son out of class or did something to him and it was going to affect his being able to play or something. And so she goes berserk. But it's sad because it's a black family again. Yeah. And but you wonder, you ask, what's wrong with you? Where did you pick up this bad behavior? If her son and if she had taught him respect, he wouldn't be in trouble. Yes, and she's exemplifying by what she's doing now to make it worse. And so she's cussing people out in the halls in their school and everything. And all the players, all of his teammates, they're all grieved about this because they liked him. They thought he was a great player. He was a friend. And yet for him and then his mother to act this way, and he they'd end up leaving and moving back to Ohio, and he was going to go to Ohio State, but we never heard from him again. So it's like they killed her. It's the exact opposite of what we were talking about, Josh Jacobs. Yeah. I think I was talking to somebody at breakfast before we came. Josh Jacobs, his background, how he grew up here in Tulsa, living with 4 siblings in a Ford Explorer. And then he goes from there, happens to be discovered. Well, his coach at McLean, he went to McLean High School, which the McLean Academy now. But anyway, so the worst school in Tulsa. I hate to say it, but anyway, and his coach decides to send some film to Nick Saban. Yep. And Nick Saban, I mean, it's funny because they said Lubbock, Tulsa's Josh Jacobs, at Alabama. And we're talking towards the end of the season. And I'm watching, I said, who from Tulsa went to Alabama? It's because you never heard anything about McLean. They're not, in the papers on weekends, who is it? It's Owasso, Bixby, Jenks, and Union. Okay. Tulsa public, get write-ups about them or their kids. Well, all of a sudden this kid ends up at the number 1 team in the country, and he ends up going to the Raiders, being like number 5 draft choice in the whole country. And here's this kid who was homeless. And the thing that makes it so outstanding, he's the nicest kid you ever want to meet, or man. He's a man now, a young man. But just the difference that you see and how God has blessed this kid for just the human being he is.
You remember Super Bowl Sunday? They did a feature on him, paid for his dad to get a brand new house. And It was
he
a great
better
story.
buy his daddy a new. No,
You're right. But, he loves his dad.
oh, sure he does.
And there's a lot to respect in that man.
I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
You know,
and here's the smarts. Let me tell you what he did. We might have talked about this before. He got drafted by the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got it was like an $18 million signing bonus.
Mm-hmm.
What he did, they were moving to Las Vegas the next year. He deferred his bonus and decided to just take his salary, which is like $750,000 a rookie salary, 500 to something. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to what some of these guys are making. Mm-hmm. And so he said, I don't want my 17 million or whatever. Mm-hmm. Save it for next year. You pay me when I get
Defer
to it. And because there's no state tax.
Right.
If he had done
California,
he would have paid 10% of that.
A billionaire tax, you bet he's going to pay a chunk.
He would have paid that and regular tax as well on everything, So it's that's how smart. That's how smart now. I'm sure he had an agent or whatever, but still, it's pretty.
And you know what? Nick Saban's created a legacy of mentoring as well. In those guys, and I'm sure he knows how to get those guys the right.
He was mean. He reminded me of my high school coach.
Nick did?
Yeah, because Coach Nello Romaldi was his name. And he would be the kind of guy, the old school, break a clipboard over your head or kick you in the butt. Like one time I was new.
Kind of Woody Hayes kind of.
Yeah, well, and I was new to the team. And so they used to, where I was, you break the huddle and you walk to the line. Well, when they did, hey, and run to the line and get set up, and so we're in practice and it's my first day at practice, second day. And he says, son, I don't know what they did, where you came from, but here we run to the line.
Yeah.
Okay, coach. And so like I was doing, but then all of a sudden I forgot laps and I'm turning around walking and I'm looking at the defensive guys and their eyes were.
Oh!
and so I took off, and next thing I feel this whoosh. And here's what makes him funny. He kicked so hard that he went in the air, and he fell on his butt.
Oh, now you're really in
because he missed me.
Oh, you humiliated him.
And all of the other players, they're looking around, just trying everything not to laugh. So here's a coach just trying, and he's on his butt. He's laying on his back, and to his credit, he said, good job. Good job. Yeah.
He got his point across.
Yeah. But I never walked again. I mean, even him falling, he made an impression.
You know what Bill Blankenship told me once, or maybe it was his brother repeated it, is that I never, ever kick a kid off the team.
Right.
And the way he describes it, he says, look, I've got over 100 kids suit up for home games, the majority of whom have no earthly hope to play in that varsity game.
Yeah.
He said, but if they do what I tell them to do, they're on the team. If they don't, they take themselves off the team.
Yeah.
That's the way he describes it. He says, you took yourself off the team by not doing that which you knew you were supposed to do, just decided you weren't going to, turn in your stuff. In fact, Joe, who I was helping, his brother, made a deal with him. He says, how about the last game of our varsity for Joe, for Noah? How about on a Thursday, we'll take on your JV? And that turned into the biggest thing. We'd always play at Union Tuttle. And the first time we actually beat them, Barry Lewis, Tulsa World, prep school reporter says, that Union JV is probably the 8th best team in high school football in Oklahoma. And so for Noah to beat them was a big deal. In fact, remember, my son and his teammates blocked a Tessway field goal in order to win it. Is it Tressway? Tressway.
He's with the Washington.
Punter now. Yeah, he had been a kicker, but now he's a punter.
And his brother, I don't know what happened to his brother, but his brother was just as good a kicker, so I don't know what happened.
Tress was at OU, wasn't he?
Right. He was the OU kicker.
And then went to Washington. In fact, I saw him.
He's still there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's funny. was it this summer or last summer? It was last summer. He was the guest preacher at Battle Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He was learning to speak and preach.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we better wrap up because we're
right.
rambling. Hey, guys.
I want to congratulate with a 7-26 score and only 6 minutes left.
That's still 6 minutes.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? That's 3 touchdowns?
Yeah.
In order to get, back in or take the lead. So, and fortunately, you had the home field advantage. That counts for something. It
does.
But still, that's a convincing enough win.
It was pent-up tortilla frustration.
To hold BYU to 7 points is incredible. So
is it 7 or 6?
It's 7.
Oh, okay.
It was 6, and then
okay, because mine didn't update properly then. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So, we'll just...
But the undefeated BYU Cougars is now that'll move Texas Tech into first place, won't it?
No. They're in 9th place.
No, I'm talking about in the Big 12. I'm sorry, I should have said.
Yeah, because they'll be tied with 1 loss.
But having beat the other team.
Right. Yeah. So. See, if they had lost, then they would be tied with Arizona State, and it gives them the edge. But see, it doesn't matter. I mean, it was important for Tech to win this one to keep them but if it goes like it is now, 2 1-loss teams, they will meet again. At the Big 12 playoff.
Big 12 playoff. Right. Now, here's who's on the schedule. Really, it's UCF and West Virginia. Not really the toughest.
Although West Virginia came back and upset somebody last week. I can't remember who they beat, but it was Houston. They beat Houston, and Houston only had 2 losses.
Yeah.
So they beat them, and UCF, they're not. But see, again, now we're in a situation where do you take them for granted? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're big cheese now. We just beat BYU, and then you go to Central Florida and get beat,
Yeah, it's like you take care of business.
Exactly. Every week you take care of business. Hey, everybody, we love you. Give us, send us your emails. Freshblack.coffee is the website. Freshblackcoffee@gmail.com is the email address. So God bless and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
All right. Disconnect your garden hoses, by the way. We've got
it's supposed to freeze.
Yep.
Okay. Good job.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye.